Okay, I think everything should be working. If not, I'm very sorry. So wait, let me just check the audio here. Everything should be working. Okay, sounds right. Um, Sorry for being like 5 minutes late. Uh, so I guess I'm gonna try streaming more. So this time I'm going to. I probably shouldn't have closed that, so I'm sure I'll need it in a second. Actually, I might hear it. So today I decided I was gonna play Persona, but that also required me to grind a bit because I lost some progress because of I got the bad ending. So I'll be finishing Persona 4 another time. But for now, we're gonna be playing Peripeteia, Land of Folklore. I've never actually had to say it out loud. So I actually have played this game before, but it's been like literal years. It says 2025 here. That's because I moved the file. It's been available since 2021, so I probably played it around 2022. It's been literally years since I played it. I don't know if I have my progress saved because I moved the file around a couple times. And after Peripeteia, I probably will play like something else for a little bit, like Outdoors the Empty Path. I actually just came up with this idea like right before I started the stream, but I probably will like try to look at it. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm an expert about like Greek mythology, but I probably will try to like look at it from a bit of an artsy perspective, like I do with Magic the Gathering sometimes. So let's see. And it should be noted that certain aspects of like the character designs and lore actually have been updated. This is a pretty old demo. I couldn't find a newer demo, but just know that according to the Snappy God herself, she has declared that some certain things have changed. This hasn't been updated because it's a demo. Do I have? Fuck, I don't think I have my data, but you're just gonna have to you're gonna have to trust that I have played it before, and that's literally all you have to go on. I don't know what my desktop audio's at. I don't know if I want to turn that down. Yeah. If people complain, I should probably also open chat. And then I think I will start recording. I kind of do want to record this. I forgot to announce that I'm streaming on all the social medias. So not the social medias. Sorry for the hold on, why am I recording? I haven't recorded yet. Damn. Let's hope it works in blue sky this time. It's pretty good queen art. Hold on. Looks like I got another banger. It's probably not my art. It's probably one of my takes, but anyway. So right, today I'm gonna be playing. So anyway, I'm gonna be playing Peripeteia, Land of Folklore. I'll probably do maybe a little bit of art analysis. Peripeteia apparently is an actual word. As you can tell, this does. I'm not sure how much. I don't remember how much we. Hold on, is that? That's a different Peripeteia. I don't know how much of this visual novel we see the Greek mythology inspiration, because it's mostly the two characters. It's like the intro, but it's been a while since I played it, so it'd be interesting if I went back and tried. Like, I'm not a Greek expert, so I'll probably miss most of it. But it'd be interesting if I went back and tried to point it out when possible. How do you pronounce it? First of all,
Peripeteia.
Peripeteia, which means to fall around or to change suddenly. It usually indicates a turning point in a drama, after which the plot moves steadily to its oh my god, denouement. Aristotle describes Peripeteia as the shift of tragic protagonist's fortune from good to bad, a shift that resembles the plot of a tragedy. Well, hopefully that's not. I mean, hopefully it's sweaty. I don't know why I said sweaty. Well, I mean, I do. That's the Twitter username. But hopefully Snappy is just like the general shift from something to something else, as opposed to good to bad specifically. But denouement, the final part of the movie, in which all the okay, it's like basically the conclusion. I don't know. Do I try to voice act? So I usually don't even bother, but air, land, and sea, and all-covering sky were made, and the whole world, the countenance of nature was the same, all one, well-named chaos, a raw, undivided mess, not but a lifeless bulk with warring seeds of ill-joined elements compressed together. So we're already seeing a bit of the Greek inspiration. I think Snappy has made it clear she takes Greek inspiration for a lot of this stuff. I can't fucking find my water bottle, but she's made it very clear she's taking on a Greek inspiration, and the primordial chaos is a concept we see like in Greek mythology of like a sort of like wooded nothing, and where you look at the sky. So probably like the idea of like, you know, from nothing to something. In the beginning, before the earth, before the stars, before the universe, there was chaos. Once again, the case spelling brings to mind like Greek myth specifically. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep moving it around just so I can. The term derived from the Greek word meaning abyss or gap signifies a formless state characterized by emptiness and darkness. From chaos emerged three primary powers: Gaia, Earth, Tartarus, deep abyss below Earth, and Eros, associated with desire and procreation. So I'm curious if those will ever show up in the story. I'm not like, no pressure if it doesn't. If you're for some reason watching the Snappy, this is me just like curious about where this stuff is going, because like very likely, you know, it could just be that chaos. Like, I don't remember what I'm saying, but I'm just wondering if a character named Tartarus will show up or something. First, in all creation, the endless chasm of emptiness where nothing exists, no time, no space, no existence, a sea of zero. This feels like a Fate reference. An incomprehensible primordial abyss. This might just be a coincidence because Fate also likes to reference a lot of mythological stuff. I might be wrong. I might just be misremembering what it was called. I thought it was like a sea of incomprehensible primordial abyss. They say at first chaos came to be, or perhaps had always been there. The universe came next, the bountiful earth, the starry heavens, the deep underworld, the night and day, light and darkness, the raging seas and snow-peaked mountains, and ever-enveloping desire. So, notice how when I just looked that up, we already see some of the themes being touched on here in reference. So we know, for example, Gaia, the earth, emerged out of chaos according to EBSCO.com. Then Tartarus, the deep abyss beneath earth, i.e. the deep underworld. And then light and darkness, which is the sky. And then Eros, associated with desire and procreation. So does this canonize? Does this mean we're just following Greek? Does this mean that this canonizes like Greek gods are real? I mean, probably not like literally real, because we have a character named Apollo and Eris, and they don't seem to be gods. But definitely a lot of reference to Greek mythology here. I'm wondering if the deep underworld is supposed to be taken literally or metaphorically, because it could refer to a literal underworld in which spirits go, or like just deep underground. And from that bountiful earth came the most peculiar of creatures, born from the brightest of stars, man. So I guess you could interpret the sky being like a display of kind of like man, intelligent yet foolhardy, strong yet weak, destructive one day, all living the next. These are all the traits of the being known as man, and under the watchful eye of chaos, mankind flourished. But such merriments were not meant to last. Man's own curious nature would be their own doing. From chaos was born the evils of mankind. Hardship, forgetfulness, starvation. Oh, I really feel the forgetfulness one. Pain, battle, war, murder, manslaughter. Quarrels, lies, stories, dispute. Anarchy, ruin, and oath. For there is no greater sin than false oath amongst brothers. So it's pretty interesting that a terrible mix. It's pretty interesting if they say oath instead of like lies, like just lying about oaths. I don't think it's saying oath is literally a sin, obviously, but it's just interesting wording. It just caught my attention. I was wondering if it's trying to say something about like promises in general, like our promises itself, like are we doomed from in a way to not uphold all our promises, and thus it's itself is sort of a sin. A terrible mix. These evils were locked away, and yet scatterbrained man, curious and unyielding, found and released these evils unto themselves. The evils born of hateful chaos emptied into the universe, and mankind was cursed forevermore. The seeds of discord had bloomed. Mountains fell, the oceans boiled, and blood splattered. One by one, the stars on Earth and in the sky died out. So if we assume the stars are a metaphor for like each like a person, like a human, because they're compared, then the idea is like as the stars go out, the stars on Earth going out is mankind dying. And in this all-encompassing madness, at the very bottom of the abyss, only one hope remained: the Doron. Is the Doron actually a word? Should I know what that is? Okay, that's second a gift, seems like, of some sort, but it's also capitalized, so it makes me seem like a proper noun, like it's a specific thing it's referring to, not just like a general thing that exists. Oh, sorry if I'm talking too fast. I've been trying to work on that. I just get really excited. Oh, painted background, fancy. I'm always watching how like visual novels do the backgrounds. I can't tell if this is painted or if it's like a picture that's been filtered, but put through a filter. Not an AI filter, just to be clear, just a filter, because this for one this came out before AI. But two, I don't think Snappy would use AI. But I've just been paying attention to how VNs like to do their backgrounds because they can take a lot of time. There's a lot of shortcuts. The sound of a carriage jolted him awake. He panicked and nearly jumped out of his skin. He was having a dream. At least he thinks it was. It was about something he'd read in a book a long time ago, or something he learned in school when he was still a young child. Probably just the scene we're just seeing for the context of the viewer. Wait a minute. What the hell is he doing sleeping against a tree? Yeah, we were on a carriage. Ah, right. Should I do a voice for Paul? What do I think he said? I'm very tempted just to just as be an asshole, make him like the Burley voice. Yeah, that's right. Doesn't sound right. But either way, very interesting art. Obviously, the lighting is very well done. Like very good job catching the transition from like a bright light source like the shadow. I suppose because I'm very lazy, so I just kind of just do hard light on everything. But there's a very clear like intent. Like some parts are like very like harsh lighting, which gives an interesting outline meant to draw attention. And then obviously your attention is brought to this because there's like everything else is pretty blurred out and bright. So it's almost like not quite one tone, but a lot of it's kind of like in the similar, like it's just green, dark green, light green. And then you have the tree catching your attention because amidst all this like bright sky and background, you have like this dark tree. And then you have our character Apollo here. Which, you know, you can only for some things about the design. If you look at the bags under his eyes, you can tell he's either very tired or very sick. Probably. I mean, some people just have baggy eyes, but I'm assuming he's... I mean, okay, I'm cheating because I know some of the lore here, but you can assume that he's probably like not in peak physical condition right now. Usually someone has like those dramatic eye bags in like a design. And obviously very interesting use to make this like a sort of outline almost to like grab your attention. Also like draws contrast against the tree. He had returned from his latest failure, but well before sunup. When the village slept, equal parts exhausted and exasperated, he was in no mood to visit the local inn for rest. Apollo didn't want to see anyone, or rather, he didn't want anyone to see him. Oh. So he found the nearest tree and hunkered down at its base. An experienced hunter, the great outdoors never bothered him. Well, half the time anyway. He was much too tired to care in any case. So obviously a lot of Greek myth references in here. Obviously never got Apollo, the Greek god of the sun and medicine. Which is, I believe Apollo uses a bow. Both Apollos use a bow. Like, that prophecy put healing. I don't know if Apollo's famous for being a hunter. I know Artemis his twin is, but yeah, I don't know if Apollo's. I don't really know Apollo as being associated with hunting. I'm not. This isn't me like critiquing like, wow, this doesn't follow Greek myth 101. This is me questioning like what aspects are a reference to Apollo, and what aspects are just um more unique to this individual character. Like, because if they're related to Apollo, then you can probably infer some things based on like Greek myth. If they're not related to Apollo, we're just gonna see how the story unfolds. Basically, Apollo blinked at the harsh sunlight peeking through the shade and rubbed sleep from his eyes with the sleeve of his shirt. How long had he been asleep? He sluggishly rose to his feet and took a look around. I should probably save. The sun had not yet reached the center of the sky, so it couldn't have been more than a few hours after sunrise. A horse-drawn carriage rode it on by as it did every morning, ready to deliver fresh fruits to any early risers. He could hear the faint hammering of metal on wood way off in the distance. The early birds of the village were well up in their business, breaking bread and herding animals. Somewhere a dog barked. So this definitely looks like some sort of image put through a filter, like sort of create like a more stylized effect, which is not a critique because I noticed a lot of visual novels do this, especially indie ones. Like when you actually think about it, like it would be insane to expect like even like a small team of people to draw every background like this detailed. So it's either this probably or just like blank colors for most of the backgrounds or like a scribble. So it's just a very interesting note. Just another ordinary day in an ordinary village. Also, considering it's Greek inspired, I wonder if these are all like houses from like Greece. Like if I like try to look for these images, it may Apollo stomach queasy with apprehension. Curse this village and its morning productiveness. Can't they just be lazy and sleep in until noon like everyone else? Said the guy named the sun god. He counted at least 12 people in the town square alone. That's 12 pairs of eyes, 24 eyes in total. Way too much comfort. You can tell, you get the feeling that he might maybe overthink a bit. I mean, okay, maybe that's the wrong word. He's clearly just embarrassed because he feels like a failure because of he didn't achieve whatever his challenge the challenge was. He didn't want to talk to anyone after his latest failure, and he certainly didn't want anyone to pry. Yeah, especially when I made a pretty big deal about not coming back. The village could be so noisy not to mention gossip. I probably should have read that out in a different voice because that was not his inner monologue. Not to mention gossipy. How long had he been gone? Couldn't have been more than a couple weeks, but a couple weeks is more than enough time to stir up trouble. He quickly dove behind a tree at the sound of approaching footsteps. He crouched and did his best to conceal his breathing. It's basically impossible when you have chronic lung problems. So yeah, if you don't know, Apollo is definitely sick, as I mentioned with the eye bags earlier and some of the design choice, but Snappy has also confirmed herself like directly that Apollo is just sick. Also, you can just tell based on his chronic lung problems, which is a very interesting choice because, as I mentioned earlier, Apollo, the Greek god, is associated with not just the sun but also healing. So the choice to make and this is me assuming it's probably a very intentional choice, given how many Greek references there have been so far. I'd be very surprised. I think Snappy's also confirmed as an intentional choice. I'd be very, very shocked if this was just a coincidence and this happened for the sake of that had this interesting contrast of someone who's extremely sick with like a god of healing, and especially with healing and health. Oh, what happened in the middle of the night while we were asleep? What? Wait. What? Oh, it says woman 1 happened in the middle of the night while we were asleep. Are they talking about him? Were you fucking stealing, Apollo? You can't be serious again. The first woman nodded as she held a bundle of yarn close to her chest. Took at least a third of the Took at least a third of the preserves I had in the pantry and all my apples for some reason. Maybe the tales were true. The woods really are close. Woman 1. Shush, you wouldn't say that, lad. Do you want to cause a panic? The middle-aged women continue on their journey, taking no heed of Apollo from behind the tree. Ghost, Apollo certainly wasn't dead as much as he wished. Mood. And in any case, he didn't believe in such follies. Definitely not. What's that? What's the face, bro? Also interesting, very like warm color palette for the character. You would have assumed that for someone named Apollo, you use a lot of yellow. I'm not saying he should. I'm just thinking about it. but there's definitely like a lot of red and a lot of gold. There is some gold. These are all warm colors, so this could be like a relation to and like brown pants. So this could all be potentially a reference to like warmer colors, like, you know, since the sun produces heat. Could also be just like a character, like a character likes red. It could also be a reference to something else I'm missing entirely. Like red does have a lot of associations. Maybe it's like supposed to be like a metaphor for like, or connection to like blood or something. He breathed in a sigh of relief, so they weren't talking about him. Not that he cared, of course. Why would he care what a bunch of country bumpkins thought about? Dude, aren't you from here? Aren't you a country bumpkin? Maybe it's not. I don't know enough about Apollo lore to know if it's from somewhere else. But based on what I know of him, it seems like he would also be qualified as a quote-unquote country bumpkin. Sweat beaded on his brow as he took a peek at his surroundings again. There were less people than now. If he was quiet enough, he could make his way to the inn unnoticed and sleep his troubles away. Damn. I don't know what her voice should be. Hello. Apollo yelped as if electrocuted. As per his usual sin of bad luck, he fell backwards right on his touches. You're using very big words, Snappy, I gotta say. Buttocks. I feel like I should know what that word. Maybe that isn't a big word. Maybe it's just a me problem. That's going to leave a mark. I don't know what the audio is like on yours. Whoops, didn't mean to... Hold on. I have my audio really loud. Whoops, I didn't mean to scare you. I just noticed you standing there, and I thought you were having an internal monologue or something. But then your face got all intense, and I thought you were having a seizure. You alright? Once again, interesting pattern here. I think it's an interesting mix of like modern and maybe like Greek, because I think this feels like it's like a Greek pattern I saw in art history class of some sort, of a reference I would not know, but then also like modern overalls. So, trying to ignore the stares and snickers and his sore behind, Apollo looked up at the voice. This person, yes, he vaguely recognized her as a carpenter from the back end of the village. What was her name? Kyria? Karia? Surely it's Karia, right? Also, I'm probably doing this time, so I just realized it's probably loud. Japanese, so this has always been here? What does this mean? Nani demo. I can't read kanji, what? Is this like some crazy lore reveal that I can't read because I don't read Japanese? I guess it's text speed. Maybe? Surely. Yeah, I think it's text speed. Wait, hold on, what was your job again? Carpenter. He quickly scrambled to get up and look presentable. He could hardly contain the persistent cough in his chest. Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Look smooth. Not near a single awkward moment. That's super. Say, now that you're here, you got a moment? I have a job for you. Also, obviously interesting. I mean, obviously the leaf is because carpentry. You might assume gardener first, but it makes sense because like working with wood, which is like plant matter. So interesting use of like green on the color palette. You don't waste time, do you? And he only just got back. Apollo often took on odd jobs in the village, herding, carpentry, gardening, even a bit of nursing. He took them all without complaint, as long as he got payment in the end. It's not exactly a reliable way to make a living, but it keeps the bread on the inn table. Right now, all he really wanted to do was lay down and sleep the rest of the day away, or rather, sleep the rest of his life away. Oh, that's not a concerning thought to have. He was just about to make up an excuse when a new voice popped into the conversation. What are you doing back here all of a sudden? Didn't you have business up north or something? Thought you said your big butt wasn't coming back. Wait. wait, pull up the fucking tweet back up. I'm gonna try not to like I don't want to scroll too much like through Snappy's like unfiltered Twitter. But I am, hold on. Didn't we have the my god. the blind spot me, but it's Eris's boobs and Apollo's butts. But it's real. Fuck. It's real. It's real. I mean, I couldn't figure. I just didn't really think about it. How. I'm gonna take this. Trust. This is how. Let me cook. Is this the original? I don't remember. That's the original. I remember maybe the JoJo one is the one I'm thinking of. Isn't there like one with like a guy? Fuck, I have to think about this. We'll read and I'll think about it in a second. Can you have this up north or something? Thought you said your big butt wasn't coming back. Oh no. I'm taking this meme all the way. You're so blunt, old man Herc. Alright, that's all I needed. That's all I need. We're cooking. We're fucking cooking. Definitely a funny little old man design. Obviously. Oh, don't mind him. He's always cranky in the morning. That's one way to put it. Old man Herc was as old as dirt and twice as senile. Many a time Apollo would see him wandering about yelling at birds and trees and whatnot. Also interesting that both these characters from the village have green and Apollo doesn't have any green in his design. I don't know if that's a coincidence or if we'll see come up later, because obviously he doesn't feel like, considering he left and then came back, awkwardly came back, he obviously doesn't feel like he fits in perfectly. Right. Karia took a pause, considering the elder's words. Actually, now I think about it, I thought you left for good that last time. Some important business out of this town, right? Okay, so I guess fucking rambling old man gave him away. Although, I mean, I wish I had more to say about these, like the different like expressions. I just don't have a ton to say because they convey what you would think. It's like obviously concern of some sort, exhaustion or being done with the situation. I wish I had like more to say about how it might represent the character, but maybe I'll have more to say as if I get far enough. Yeah. I take it everything went well. Oh yeah, passive fucking flying colors, baby. Fantastic. You're always so gloomy that I worried something awful happened. Guess I overreacted. So, you know, Apollo may not be as subtle or smooth as he wants to be. Kind of easy to read. The woman chuckled while old man Herc eyed him strangely. Apollo shifted uncomfortably in his boots and turned his face away to cough into the upper sleeve of his shirt. Sometimes he was glad he had this damn persistent cough. Which is... I mean, hey, if you ever eat it out, just like, oh yeah, you know, sickness is flaring up, gotta go. Yeah, no big deal. Arya waved her hand lazily. Good. So about that job. The old man simply snorted and spat. Don't bother, Karya. We best look elsewhere. I just do voices randomly. It's important you know it, and it's important you know it, Gramps. Important? Apollo blinked dully, letting the word sink in. He was about as important as a speck of dirt. Why would anyone need him for anything? He doubted anyone else in this whole village even knew he existed. Dude, this guy needs to go to fucking therapy. She immediately knew who you are, walked up to you. Old man Herc remembered you from a week ago. I think they know who you are, bro. We gotta take this guy to fucking therapy. Anyway, that's not a critique though, that's just me pointing out that there's a very interesting contrast between what the character is perceiving to happen and what's actually happening. So obviously Apollo probably has really low self-esteem about himself if we actually sit down and think about it. Because like he says he's important in speck of dirt, which is like, you know, I don't know how high status in society is. That's clearly just like how, you know, how like I feel and a lot of people feel when they're depressed and stuff. And then why would they need him for anything? He just talked about doing a bunch of jobs for everyone, like around the village. And then he doubted anyone in this whole village ever knew existed, which clearly they just remembered, because she probably wouldn't have walked up to you if she didn't know who you were or feel comfortable asking. And then this guy clearly remembered you, and he, according to you, he's senile. There's a very interesting contrast about what his narration is saying is happening, what we're actually seeing within the story. If it's so important, what do you need me for? Huh? Well, you're an adventurer, aren't you? Wait, hold on. I gotta think about what was just said. Sometimes I just... If it's so important, what do you need me for, huh? Okay, so another interesting bit of characterization. Part of it seems that, I mean, he is being a snarky asshole. But part of it seems to be that he doesn't feel worthy of this job. Because he thinks if it's important, then like, what do you need me for? Because he thinks of himself as a speck of dirt. So we can use this to infer a bit about the character here and what their actual motive is, as opposed to what they just say their motive is. Well, you're an adventurer, are you? Yeah, I mean, because he did tell him you passed. That took Apollo by surprise. He never imagined people would thought much of him, and he certainly didn't think he'd buy the vision of an adventurer. I feel kind of bad because I feel like I'm just stating stuff that's stated by like 2 seconds later by the narration, but brave, stalwart, daring. These are the qualities that make up adventurers, a title reserved only for the bravest souls, those who venture into the unknown with lance and shield in hand, unyielding and unrelenting. They carve their names into history and leave behind a wall of valiant deeds that echo through eternity, paragons of wisdom and bravery, proprietors of justice, heroes born of flesh and blood. Not that Apollo cared, of course. Only a dumb little kid would think that way. After all, what kind of goofball still believes in his stories of chivalrous knights on horses and warriors clad in gold? Adventurers weren't anything but glorified sellswords. So there's a very interesting contrast about, once again, Apollo himself is basically at conflict with himself, very obviously. Because he very clearly wants to be some sort of adventurer, or else he wouldn't have fucking wandered out north to try to become one. If he clearly feels very bad about not becoming one and passing his test or whatever, which all wouldn't make sense if he didn't care about it. All wouldn't make sense if he didn't care about being an adventurer, because he just wouldn't be that upset about it, I think. So I think he's just trying to basically rationalize to himself. He feels bad that he doesn't feel worthy, so he's just trying to like rationalize like his emotions to himself. Nothing special. An adventurer, huh? No, I'm afraid you got it all wrong. And not that I'm curious or anything, but what made you think I was an adventurer? You have the look of one. Aww. Really? Yeah, you have the arrogant, foolhardy look that'll probably get you. Yeah, you have the arrogant, foolhardy look that'll probably get you killed in a split second. That checks out. Okay, that's not what she thought. That's the old man interjecting. What was he thinking? He must be more tired than he thought. He didn't think he'd actually managed to. He didn't actually think he'd managed to forget. The memory still stung years later. It's stung now. You can't be an adventurer, Apollo. Oh, okay. Anyways, what is it you wanted to ask me? Oh, yes. The familiar smile vanished from her face. Only a stony stare remained. You've heard about the woods, right? Also, interesting that her hair looks very messy and up. I didn't really think about that, but her hair is also very messy. I mean, this old man's hair is also messy. I assume this here would represent or maybe her job. Like maybe she seems pretty like muscular. So I assume it's kind of like reference that she's a very like physical labor intensive job. And this is like messy beard is probably like a quirk. But if anything about what Apollo says is true, it might also represent a sort of like kookiness in a sense. That took him aback. He couldn't say why. After all, it's not as if he'd never heard the superstitions about the local woods. It's all the villagers seem to whisper about, apart from daily gossip. I forgot to check the chat. The cursed woods and the spirit that lives in it. Did I post on Blue Sky that I was streaming? I'm not sure if I did. I don't think I did. I think I got distracted. Fuck. The reason why sometimes it's annoying. Also, just gonna have to listen to music in the background. Why? Okay, sorry. No one could quite agree on when exactly started. Only that they noticed about the same time. There's actually some very interesting implications about this village. Again, I don't know if that's intentional or not. So we have a carpenter. No one's clearly said to be a carpenter, and it seems like they live in a very woody area. She has leaves in her hair, so I'm just wondering if that's says something about the village and like what in general. Maybe like has like a lot of lumber. Of course, that could just be kind of like a coincidence. Like it just happens to live in a wooded area, so of course there's a carpenter by proxy. Ooh, inverted colors. Someone watched them, someone followed them, or at least that's what the villagers swear. Anytime they ventured too deep in the woods, they could feel something, like a pair of eyes glued to their back, watching their every move, their every breath. So, swapping the colors, obviously you could interpret this as like what is normally like a safe, nice forest, like it's been inverted. So now it's like a dangerous area, and it could also represent sort of like something maybe that feels unnatural in the forest. Like what was not once like unnatural, like greenery, is now like, I'm not saying this is literally like what the forest was happening. I don't think the forest is literally changing colors, but I think this color is kind of like either intentionally or unintentionally sort of representative of like maybe either a reversal of like emotion of a sort, or like like the forest symbolic represents the people, or some sort of unnatural force. Of course, no one ever actually saw anything, but that just made things worse. People fear more that which they cannot see. Then they started hearing footsteps in the woods. Sometimes it was slow and deliberate, other times it was quick and abrupt. The crunching of leaves and the snapping of twigs. It would circle them, softly at first, and then louder. So it sounds like something is hunting. That's when they would notice how dead quiet the woods had become. And things would only get worse, at least in the beginning. All the strange happenings occurred solely within the woods. The village itself, nestled in a large clearing in the woods and facing an open road that led to the countryside. Sorry, I guess sometimes my brain just... At least in the beginning, all the strange happenings occurred solely within the woods. The village itself, nestled in a large clearing in the woods and facing an open road that led to the countryside, offered safety and security for even the most fearful villagers. It's interesting that even here, the colors look inverted. The safety shattered the moment the villagers realized something was entering their homes. So once again, something that was once safe, you could interpret that as like an inversion. So once a safe area that offered protection is now dangerous and hiding something dangerous within it. Or you can interpret this as like maybe just like to display something that's like less natural. The turning of a knob, food disappearing from the pantry, clothes missing from the line, all in the dead of night. It sounds like just like a person. I don't know why a fucking animal or monster would be taking food from the pantry. I mean, I can understand that part, but clothes. Worse yet, no one had seen a thing. They only awoke to the aftermath, to the chilly morning air wafted through their open front door. Even every day, household items went missing. Tools, pots, eating utensils, just poof, vanished. Things didn't get worse, at least, as in no one went missing or got hurt, but so maybe that's because most people were too afraid to leave their homes, much less venture into the woods. Everyone decided it would be best to hide under their bed sheets, though this did little to alleviate the fear of the footsteps at night. Certainly didn't help at either. Neither did the dark figures at the window. In truth, Apollo was surprised he forgot all about it up until now. It was the talk of the town before he left. Someone even gave him a pendant to ward against the evil eye while on his travels. Come to think of it, it's still stuffed somewhere in his back. So the evil eye is something that like exists in real life. It's like common imagery. I couldn't tell you what cultures it's from off the top of my head, but it's like this like it's like the idea of like warding off like some usually that it's like consecutive to this idea of like warding off evil or like malicious intent causing evil, or like a glare. Does Wikipedia say where it's from? Many cultures: the Balkans, Eastern Europe, Middle East, Central Asia, South Asia, Africa, Caribbean, and Latin America. So it's kind of like in a lot of places. A spirit, a demon, the evil eye, no one could really decide, but unbeknownst to the people of this village Apollo has, he's decided to load up baloney. And notice how like once he says that, it goes back to normal. It's almost like, so if like again, if you interpret the inverted colors as sort of like an inversion, this could represent like, oh, the place actually is safe or natural. It's just people, this is how he perceives the area. It's like, it's not something unnatural. It's not some inversion of safety. It's just like normal town. Remembering all this crap is giving him a headache. He should have known when he hid from those women earlier. Who in their right minds believes in this nonsense? It's a wonder how this lunacy has gone on this long. There's no such thing as spirits or ghosts or any supernatural mumbo jumbo, just illusions of big backward town. So I'm kind of curious because I never really thought about it. I don't know if Apollo can use any kind of magic, and if he, I guess this would imply that like magic at least isn't like a well-known mainstream thing in this world. Not that it doesn't exist. I never thought about it, but we'll see. This is of course ignoring the fact that the first time Apollo heard of this, he shut the curtains and stuck a chair under the doorknob of his room. But that's not important right now. Once again, emphasizing a sort of contradiction between Apollo's thoughts and his actions, and also like a sort of maybe like a sense of low. It's not like he's afraid of this nonsense. If he were scared, then that means he believed it, and that's just plain untrue. Of course, he won't believe this crap. What is he, 12? I mean, you can be scared without believing. You might just believe it's something else, I suppose, and not just like a... Apollo, are you even listening? Well, I guess no one specified what it was, so I guess you would have to believe it. Apollo snapped out of his thoughts as if doused in cold water. This guy fell asleep too. Oh, no. Okay, it's back. Huh? Who? I mean, I'm listening. Haha, right. Yeah, I don't think she's on them. She, you know, none the wiser. Like I said, smooth as butter, never fucking awkward, can always perfectly read the room. Anyways, as I was wondering, if you go scope out the woods for us. What? Why me? And for what? Just to check for, well, anything really. Everyone's either too scared or too busy. We'll be getting a steady stream of merchants in the next few days, and we can't have ourselves hiding under the beds, and besides, even if you're not an adventurer, you're still a hunter. That's better than nothing, I'd say. He felt a strangeness starting at the pit of his stomach, the woods. Sorry, but I'm busy. I'm fucking sure you are, man. Doing what, bro? Busy doing what? Thing in the end? What? Doing what? I'm just busy, that's all. Look, I have better things to do than chase after some fairy tale. Well, it's I think she's asking just so you can get everyone to calm down. Like, you might as well just go in the fucking woods, man. Arya put her hands to her hips and huffed. Old man Herc somehow managed to fall asleep standing up beside her. I know you're a skeptic, but there's no reason for rudeness. He couldn't stop the disgruntled groan from leaving his mouth. What a... Oh, come on. You can't tell me you believe in this nonsense. I don't, for the most part. And I think she's just telling you to check, just to calm everybody down, not necessarily because you have to believe it. But you can't deny the effect it's having. People are afraid to leave their homes, not to mention the economy. Apollo could only sign avert his gaze. A rinky-dink village like this relied on outside merchants. If merchants and traders were too afraid to set foot here, the villagers might as well kiss their economy goodbye. What's the point? It's not like there's anything out there. And if there is, it's probably some loser with too much time in their hands. Well, I'm not sure I would say a loser, but maybe someone with too much time in their hands. Look, we're not asking you to take down a bunch of bandits. We just need to know what we're dealing with. Yeah, what we're dealing with? Why'd I say it like that? Old man Herc miraculously awakens from his slumber to slam his cane into the ground. Apollo looked at them tentatively. He should have made for the end when he had the chance. He ran a hand down his face, exhausted. Look, I'm just not interested. I'm sorry, but it's not my problem. With that, he turned to leave, somehow feeling worse, because you're being a dick. Once again, though, it's definitely a highlight of how Apollo's like feelings contradict his actions. I told you, that kid's a coward, even more than the rest of us. No way they'd be of any help. And immediately ran back to his previous position. Come again? You heard me, coward. Apollo could practically feel a blood vessel popping in his head. I'm not a coward. Arya and the old man merely stared at him. They're like, oh shit. We figured her in. We have her in. We know what to do. So a devilish smile grew on both their faces, and Apollo was too enraged to even notice he was walking right into the trap. Also, maybe Apollo isn't as... once again, I don't think Apollo is like as smooth or subtle as he always thinks he is. Yes, you are. There's no shame in admitting it, kid. Also, it shows that old man is not as like senile as Paul made. Maybe Paul made him out to be. Like he's a bit weird, but he seemed like both her and like him and Kat, you were on the same page. The moment they saw the opening. Yes, you are. There's no shame in admitting it, kid. You believe in stuff about the woods, same as us. No use hiding it. I am not scared. I am not a coward. I like also how he just came back from being like feeling bad. He's trying to avoid everyone because he felt bad about failing and not being like a brave, cool hero. But maybe it hits a little too close to home. And for your information, I'm 24 years old. Stop treating me like a kid, old man. The other just scoffed and waved his hand. Yeah, 24, 12. There's no difference once you get to my age. Look like you were right, Gramps. He sure looks scared. What to do? What to do? Well, gotta bust out the A+ acting. Guess you got no choice but to send a dove to the nearest. Oh, look, a dove. So dove imagery we will see at the end of the character that comes up later. I don't know how much I'll look into that, but this does show. I mean, doves are also pigeons, so when they say dove, they might mean like a messenger pigeon or something. But doves and pigeons are like the same kind of bird. But the nearest adventurers guild. I don't even know if it will make it with all the hawks flying around. Maybe we should just send a courier. The two exchanged thoughts. Apollo can only stand there, humiliated for the second time in one day. He already experienced one crushing failure. Must he endure this as well? I'm just gonna save. Apollo felt like a kettle, and he definitely hit his boiling point. It was one thing to belittle him. It was quite another to imply. Also, I noticed his cheeks are kind of flush. I wonder if that's also because he's sick. I never really thought about, like, just slightly. Maybe. Am I going fucking crazy? It's quite another to imply that he was Apollo felt like a kettle, and he definitely hit his boiling point. It was one thing to belittle him. It was quite another to imply he was actually afraid of something that doesn't even exist, as if logic and reason didn't exist. He hated this. He hated being treated like an idiot. He hated being treated like an inferior. Insulted. But Apollo, you yourself treat yourself like an inferior. You gotta be nice to yourself, buddy. Is this how you... I love how when it's other people doing it, he's really pissed off, but he does it to himself all the fucking time. Which I guess, you know, if you feel inferior, you don't always want people playing that, like poking at the wound. I'm not scared, and I don't believe in any of this. This is mumbo jumbo. There's that thing in the woods. Nothing. Not ghosts or whatever. Not ghosts or curses or whatever. And you know what? I'm gonna prove it to you, to everyone in this silly Billy town. And I can't wait to see your faces when I do. Oh damn! Fantastic. I feel much better now. Oh man, Herc nodded contently. I forgot this expression's in the game. Oh my god. So it's nice to see the young play an active role in the community. He tried to stay around a responsive excuse anything, but he knows what he's got. Just give me the map so I can get this over with. Sure thing. I left the darn thing at home. One moment, please. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes. When she opened them again, the woman reached out a freckled hand towards the direction of her house. Okay, so there is magic in this world. I guess what he's saying though is that there are certain things that don't exist. Like there might be magic, doesn't necessarily mean there's spirits running around, but we'll see. And she let her skin turn to woods, her freckles into leaves. Okay, so that's some interesting care. Like that makes the design much more interesting because once again we get a lot of green. Also, there's like a leaf poking out here already. So once again, this points to not only her job as carpentry, but also appears like her like abilities. Like a writhing squid, tendrils of wood stretched out of her arm and into the village, skipping over rooftops and meandering through the streets, all the way to her house in the back of the village. No one, not Apollo, not the villagers, not even the animals, batted an eye. This is the norm after all. About as commonplace as a cow eating grass. Could they eat her freckles though? If that turns her freckles into leaves, could a cow eat it? He couldn't help being jealous. Karya had a pretty sick Doron. Okay, so a Doron seems like we learned earlier that Doron means like a gift, but this Doron seems to be kind of like a ability of some sort, which explains the capital. But one could definitely get creative with an ability like dendrokinesis. God, hold on, I gotta go look that up. And hold on. Wood manipulation. Okay. I wonder if that's what's the root word for dendro? Because I'm wondering. Okay. He wished he had something that cool instead of the toxic schlock he got stuck with. Okay, interesting. Now, they'll leave it in the parlor or the workroom. Whoops, that's not it. Oh, a bunch of the distance like carnage. Whatever breaks you was less expensive. At what point is not worth it? Stop. Aha. With a flick of her wrist, the massive wooden vine retreated back into Karia's arm with the map in tow. All right, here you go. I'll find everything you need. You'll find everything you need in here. Also makes her job as a carpenter interesting. I wonder, like, if her wood powers help at all. You know, you really have to think of new ways to stimulate the economy. He meant that only as a complaint, but Karia blinked thoughtfully at his words. I'll think about that. Well, good luck. Just as I said, just let us know when you come back. If you come back, have fun. The two smiled, Wade, and left him where he was. They're fucking enjoying this. You know, they deserve a victory lap, though. This seriously sucks. Damn it. As if on cue, he glanced over to the line of the woodland that marked the beginning of the forest. The village maintained a healthy distance from the so-called cursed woods, but it was only a 5-minute walk to his entrance. Paul never walked through these woods. He had arrived by the road that cut through the flat countryside, hitchhiking up the backs of a merchant's carriage. Likewise, he embarked on his latest failure through that road as well. Looking at it now, he didn't look any different from looking at it now, it didn't look any different from your everyday woods. But it's the inside I should fear. He shook his head. Where'd that stupid thought come from? There's nothing to be afraid of in those woods, aside from poison ivy. If he started now, he wagered he'd be done by mid-afternoon. According to the map, the local woods were big, but not terribly complex. At least not for someone with wilderness experience like him. And yet his feet did not move. Also, again, interesting. I should have probably thought about this earlier, but interesting that the guy named Apollo, a god associated with medicine, his powers seem to be toxic or poison related, as opposed to healing. So whatever it does, it might interact with something that explicitly makes you sicker or feel less well, as opposed to healing. But then again, some toxins are used for healing. Like some poisons, you can like use them for like medicine and stuff. So interested about that. And yet his feet did not move. Behind him, a couple feet away, he could hear children playing with broom handles. That had once been him, so long ago, playing adventure. How time flies. What was he now? A wannabe, a pretender? Or was he really just... I'm really tempted to just, like, say, like, fucking Fate... Is that a Fate reference for every stupid shit? Like, pretender? Like, Fate? You're still here? Don't you ever get tired of internal monologue? Again, Paul isn't necessarily the most subtle person in the world. Paul instinctively jumped back at his voice. I was warming up, old man. I'm getting to it. Yeah, sure. Anyway, it's good you're still here. I have something for you. Apollo's face softened at that. He couldn't remember the last time he'd gotten a gift. Aww. Oh, for me, that's actually nice of you. Well, what is this? It's some sort of weird little bag. What do you mean, what is this? Aren't you a Greek? It's a bag of winds, of course. No adventure would be caught dead without it. Now go, child, go. So he says Greek. I'm wondering if, like, this entire world is Greek, or if it's just... Because it obviously the answer points more towards that this specific area is Greek, and that there might be other, like, different cultures, in fact, like, cultures inspired by different things in this world. What's a bag of wind? Well, I know it means a tired talkative person, but, like... A bag in which the unfavorable winds were confined. The winds escaped and drove them back to the island. Although he appears human. Okay, so it might literally be like a magic wind bag. I mean, thanks, I guess. But what am I even supposed to do with the... Go! Oh, this guy's pissed. All right, I'm going. Sheesh. And so he tied the bag to the side of his belt and set off on his quest. The elder watched him as he ventured into the woods, disappearing in a tangle of trees and brush. You've got spunk, that's for sure. You'll make a fine adventurer one day. The plot twist is this guy's gonna have been an adventurer at some point. Now, what was that plan Karya was going about? Something about boosting the town's business? Uh-oh. Sigh, me and my big mouth. You're telling me, man. He grumbled to himself as he made his way to the forest. When you live a solitary lifestyle, you get used to talking to yourself. Yeah, I can tell. And so can Herc. Soft earth and fallen leaves crumpled softly underfoot. Oh yeah, so I said how most of the village seem like at least Herc and Karya seem like they have green in the co-design. So like which the Dosimas maybe being like of similar like background or culture. It seems like Apollo has no green. So I'm wondering if part of that is maybe is like a more solitary lifestyle as like a either intentional or unintentional sort of like design storytelling is that he lives almost like apart from the rest of the village in some ways. Also, I believe green sets are opposite from red on the color wheel. Like I know red is usually thought of the opposite of blue, but if you're basically going at basically just the color wheel, like I think green and I mean red and green are more opposites. Um, Soft earth and fallen leaves crumpled softly underfoot. The smell of pine and sweet sap filled the air. It's the cool of the forest. In the cool of the forest, the sun gently peeked its warm rays through the leaves overhead. A small stream cut right through this part of the woods and emptied out farther inland. The song of birds, the buzzing of insects, explosion of greens, browns, and yellows. The forest is alive, beating with life, in contrast to our character who is wearing red. And I guess a little bit of yellow, to be fair. Under normal circumstances, Apollo would call this beautiful, picturesque even, something only found in a painter's canvas, a lovely vision seen in the most lucid of dreams. Unfortunately, this was not normal circumstances, and even if it was, Apollo was too far deep in his own woes to care, like always. The brooding hunter smelled neither pine nor sap, only the vague sourness of old leaves and rotten plants. If his watery eyes and sneezing fits were any indication, he was surely allergic to at least half the greenery that littered the forest floor. So once again, we also have the idea, like maybe not he's maybe not the picturesque example of health. He had a throbbing headache and an itch there, a sore there, and he was fairly certain that the ulcer in his stomach was fire and ready to go. And then there's the pebble in his left boot. So yeah, obviously sick. Things just never go right for Apollo, and today's no exception. I should have just kept my mouth shut. Then none of this would have happened. As benefiting of summer sale now. Sorry, as befitting someone prone. Also, I should probably close my Discord in case people start. As befitting someone prone to woes and misfortune, Apollo often found himself mulling over what ifs and should haves. He should have just sucked it up and gone out to the end after all. Then all he had to worry about was sleeping through the lunch special. He should have just kept walking when the town Hicks approached him. Again, we're getting like an emphasis on like the contradiction between Apollo's thoughts and actions. All the stuff he thinks he should be doing, but he isn't. He does like the exact opposite. If he hadn't chickened out earlier back then, none of this would have happened. His worries, his fears, all would be gone. Except he did fail, and he ended up returning to the village with his tail between his legs and getting caught in some stupid snipe hunt. He really owed to change his name to Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda at this point. Apollo stopped the coffin to his elbow for what felt like the millionth time that day. His lungs didn't seem to be having much fun either. Joy. Ugh, where the hell even am I? Past the meadows on the northern screen next to the river. According to the map, he should be almost 6 miles out from the village. From his vantage point, he could see the distant smoke of chimneys. He frowned. 6 miles out and 2 hours later, yet nothing to report from the dark, cursed, haunted whatchamacallit woods. Nothing seems to be out of the ordinary. Trees are treeing, bushes are bushing, animals are animaling. Honestly, what was he expecting? Nothing, of course. There's nothing special or haunted in these woods. Nothing at all. Oh, fuck. A rat. Oh, shit. He almost drops his map in his fright. He's embarrassed. Squirrel. He's not scared. He just wasn't expecting it. That's all. Sure, man. If anyone should be scared of to be a squirrel, I mean, technically not wrong. You are a hunter, so you're lucky you're not already skinned and ready for stewing. The squirrel merely blinked, a small acorn in its hand. Damn it! Why must he be so cute? Why must meat be so cute sometimes? What about you? Have you seen things strange in these parts lately? The squirrel stood its head, then it stuffed the acorn in its mouth and scurried away. I really have to stop talking to myself. Yeah. He sighed and relaxed his shoulders. For what it's worth, it's not so bad. That is to say, it could be worse. Medical gripes and allergies aside, it's a nice day out, and the forest has no shortage of natural beauty. Maybe he should chin up. When was the last time he hiked or trekked? He had been so used to hitchhiking rides on the back of carriages, he'd forgot how much fun walking was. And hunting, too. These days he spent more time counting sheep than striking down prey. Nowadays, his trusty bow felt heavy on his back, even more after he returned from his failure. Does he have a bow on his back in his art? I don't think he does. I was just curious. I was wondering if I missed something. Forget it. Also, bow, because Apollo's famous for using a bow and arrow in Greek mythology. He's like really good with the bow and arrow. Whatever. It doesn't matter in the long run. Why should it? What kind of schmeal Schlemmel. I don't know that word. Schlemiel gets emotional over hiking and hunting anyway. One who appreciates the beauty of life and doesn't need a therapy and isn't depressed probably. 30 minutes later, and still nothing aside from the multitude of pine cones that littered the forest floor. Apollo's legs were beginning to ache. At the very least, all this walking would be great for his glutes. The hunter took a quick look up at the sun in the sky. Should be the middle of the afternoon by now. Hopefully his ass doesn't get any bigger. I don't know if the wall can handle it. I'm really just wasting my time out here, huh? He stifled a yawn with the back of his hand. All this walking sure made him tired. It wouldn't hurt to take a little nap. No one would know. It's not like he's going to find anything in here anyway. Might as well spend the time doing something productive, like snoozing. True. Snoozing is very productive. He plopped down on a comfy patch of grass and asphodel flowers. Asphodel. I think it's a reference like one layers of the underworld from Greek mythology. I'm sure the asphodel flowers are an actual thing. I'm just saying it's an interesting choice. Associated with the underworld, death, and mourning. I'm gonna hope that wasn't chosen for any symbolic reason. Hopefully that's not any foreshadowing. They down his back. There's a few moments, and that's all. Just enough to catch my yawned breath. Because asphodel flowers could also be native to whatever area they're in. His eyes felt so heavy all of a sudden. The sound of the forest lulled him to sleep bit by bit. Sweet bird songs and gentle wind. Superstitions are stupid. There isn't anything out here, or anyone for that matter. Nobody. His eyes shot open. What was that? What the hell was that? In a split second, he was on his feet. How long was he asleep? Couldn't have been too long, right? Calm down, Apollo. It's probably just another squirrel. Then why was he sweating? Why did it feel like his heart was about to burst out of his chest? What's this dark feeling, foreboding feeling that threatened to suffocate him? And most importantly, oh, here we go, the effect again. When did it get quiet? Dead quiet. So once again, you probably already know what my assumption about this is. Like either feeling unnatural or what was once safe now feels dangerous. There's not a single sign of life to be heard. No birds, no insects, not even a breath of wind. Just pure unadulterated silence. What? That one came from his left. And that one from his right. It's all around him. It's circling him. Not too close, just a couple feet away. He can't see it, but he can hear it. It's not an animal. He won't lie to himself. He knows it's not an animal. To his growing horror, he realizes he's being circled by footsteps. He knows his behavior. He's quite familiar with it. The thing is, he's usually on the opposite end, because this is the behavior of a hunter and his prey. Uh-oh. He won't stop. With his breath caught in his throat and legs turned to jelly, he could only tremble. The next few moments are punctuated by silence. No footsteps, no crunching, just silence. He looks around uneasily, his eyes like pinpricks in a sea of white. Now the only sound that fills the air is his chattering teeth. And then, nothing. He opens his mouth only to close it again. He's rooted to the spot. The big guy upstairs might as well turn him into a tree. Still nothing. In a single sweeping movement, he lets out the breath he'd been holding this time. Ack. He puts his hand to his knees, steadying himself. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Good. The forest returns to normal, then, or perhaps it had always been. Once he'd read that sometimes when a person is scared, they completely block out everything else in the world. Irrationality takes hold of their mind, and for those few seconds they are devoid of sense. Is that what happened here? Nothing. It was nothing. Birds chirped, insects buzzed. The wind ran a gentle breeze through the treetops. Just another day in an ordinary forest. Apollo stuck out his tongue and made a plat noise. I'm going to give myself a heart attack one of these days. Haha, I'm so dumb sometimes. Hashtag just Apollo things. That smile would not last. That breath of relief would not last because the very next thing he heard, ah, came from right behind him. He's like, he's running. He doesn't know what direction he's running, but he's running. The parts become a blur of green. The only thing Apollo can hear is his gasping breaths and the hammering of his heart. Faster and faster, his legs have become his only lifeline. He's being chased. No, he's being hunted. He doesn't dare turn around. He can't explain it. Can't understand it. But he knows if he turns around, even for a second, that will be the end. His breath has become a frantic rhythm of wheezing. His lungs might give out. Run, run, just keep running. Don't look back, just run. His mind is screaming, begging, praying for him to run and never stop. Faster and faster. There's no trees, no bushes, no sky. Only a haze green, nothing else. It's daylight, but it's dark. Why is it so dark? Green, green, green. Faster and faster. It's catching up. Faster and faster. Don't stop. Faster and faster and faster and faster. And faster and faster and faster. In this fog of world, he sees a light. In one final desperate act, Paul jumped forward. A red figure's on their hands and knees in a small clearing in the forest. The sun is shining above them. Birds are chirping, bugs are buzzing. Somewhere nearby, a stream gently flows. Ack. He's nothing but a coughing, wheezing mess. His sides are on fire. He doesn't even want to look at whatever just came out of his mouth. But slowly, life returns to him. His lungs are going to haywire and he can't feel a single thing in his body, but he's alive. I'm alive. Once he gets the feeling back in his hands, he feels all around his body. Face is okay, legs are still there, but it's still plump. I'm fucking... Can I get like my... I might make like a fucking Apollo fat ass compilation to like back up my claims. So all my Apollo fat ass memes will all make perfect sense. Okay. Next, he took a look at his surroundings. He could see the frantic trail he left behind him in the forest. It was the size of his dumpy that made that trail. The forest, he turned around, afraid of what he might find. And he found only an ordinary forest. Oh man, that was so embarrassing. He slapped his hand over his face, absolutely mortified. This is without a doubt the most embarrassing, humiliating thing to ever happen to him. You know, he's feeling the kind of guy who wakes up like 3 years later after this thing happened and just keeps him awake. But that breath. He pulls his hand from his face. Didn't he hear that breath? The one he was so sure was right behind him? No, he wasn't so sure. Now he wasn't so sure. Could it be he imagined the whole thing? Was his mind playing tricks on him? It's not improbable. Fear has tendency to twist a person's rationality. A tree at the window becoming a gnarled hand, a coat in the closet becoming a shadowy monster. A simple gust of wind becomes a breath. Yeah, that's it. It was nothing, Apollo, nothing. Old man Herc was right. He was a coward. So much so he almost went into a cardiac arrest from the stupid scare. He even managed to forget the bow on his back and the arrows in his quiver. Fine then, he'll admit it. I'm a coward. Oh, the old man was trying to get you to come out here, bro. He wasn't. For some reason, it doesn't pain him to admit this. I'm a coward. Almost shit his their pants or nothing, buddy. It's almost freeing. After some time contemplating his thoughts and gathering his breath, he stood up. The sun will set within the next few hours. If he started back now, he might have time to feed the feral pigeons behind the inn. He had taken to feeding the poor creatures and tending to the occasional wound during his time here. Hopefully none of them went hungry while he was gone. Even pigeons deserve kindness. Aw, you know, that is true. Well, that's enough. That's enough heartbreaking action for one day. Thank you very much. I should really head back. Again with the talking to himself. After a quick stretch, Apollo turned around and began to walk back, trying not to look at the embarrassing trail he'd left behind. That's when Apollo saw it. It was the color that caught him, a white cooking pot nestled in the green of the forest floor. What the... There's more, a bundle of blankets, pots and vases, baskets of food and supplies, discarded trash, and a bunch of apples. This is... a campsite? if it could be called that. It's kind of pathetic to look at, really. And he was just beginning to step forward when the ground slept from right under him. Wah! And he found himself in the upside down world. No correction. Apollo was the one upside down, suspended 2 feet off the ground, a snare tightly wrapped around his ankle, dangling from a tree branch. Ahem, an addendum to the previous most embarrassing humiliating thing to ever happen to him. This is the most embarrassing thing to ever happen to him, bar none. He slapped his hands over his face so hard he could hear the echoes. Apollo never wanted to take his hands off his face. How could he ever show his face to society again? It's a wonder that he hadn't died of embarrassment yet. In a way, yes. Not because he deserves to be embarrassed, but because he's really hard on himself. Could this day get any worse? He groaned into his hands. Might as well cut himself down from the stupid trap before all the blood rushes to his head and kills him, though that would actually be a mercy at this point. After one last sigh of disappointment, he removed his hands and found himself looking in the world's most gentle set of dark eyes. There's an angel watching over him. Not really. Beautiful and lovely, and her eyes are so dark, so warm, like a dove. So, if you couldn't tell, Eris has a lot of dove imagery. Also angel imagery, obviously, with a lot of white and gold. And also, like, the wings. There's been a lot of pigeons. There's a lot more pigeons than I remember in this story, actually. He had ever seen a woman, no, anyone so beautiful as her in his life. All I could do was let a stupid gasp escape his mouth. Ack. Of course, all the times to meet a real beauty. He must look so stupid hanging upside down from a tree, and he's so dumbstruck he can hardly speak to boot. This stage keeps getting worse and worse. The one part of her lips as if hesitant to speak. Is she trying to say something? Got you. I mean, is it less embarrassing if it was premeditated and someone trying to get you? Huh? What? What is he talking about? She pursed her lips and waved her finger. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I thought you were smarter than that, to fall for the old foot snare trap. Then again, I am a master prankster, so I can't blame you. Oh, fuck. She fell into a fit of guffaws. Apollo found himself dumbfounded. One minute he was looking at a fair maiden, the next he found himself alone with a giggling maniac. No, don't tell me you're... Alright, that's enough gloating for now. I'll get you down. She reached to her side and retrieved this a rather impressive double-ended lance. I feel like showing off, like cutting an entire rope with a lance. Was that thing always there? Lancer class confirmed. Also, once again, definitely Greek-inspired clothing here. Oi. What are you gonna do with that thing? I already told you, I'm getting you down. It's at least Greek-inspired. Maybe not clothing. Well, I'm not sure. I'm just sure about clothing. I'm assuming clothing, but definitely like the patterns, like with how it's folded, I think. I already told you, I'm getting you down from here. Now stay still, okay? This will take just a second. And before he could even protest, she swung her lance with the grace of a dancer and sliced the rope that held his foot into lance, like lancer. Gua. Two things occurred to Apollo as he hit the ground. One, he saw the mystery behind the so-called cursed woods, and two, holy shit, this falling on your head hurt a lot more than that sounds. I mean, falling on your head sounds like it hurts a lot. Henriette groans poured out of the hunter as he struggled to his feet. He rubbed the tender bump on his head. Now, no time for tears. Walk it off. That's what I always do. Unbelievable. Also, has night shift been on this entire time? I want you to see this in its unfiltered state. It's you, isn't it? You're the reason everyone in this village has lost their minds. The woman blinked, considering his words. Oh, the village? Yep, that was me. Well, at least she's honest about it. Yeah, you know. Right, so any particular reason you decided to terrorize the entire community for the past few months? Well, a girl's gotta have some fun. God forbid a woman have hobbies in this fucking economy. God forbid. Right, of course, because that makes sense. Somehow I think most people would disagree with your notion of fun. Look, he struggled to finish his sentence in the absence of her name. Thankfully, the woman had a sharp eye and caught on. With a curtsy, introduced herself. Eris Otis. I don't know what Otis means. So Eris is a Greek god. I think of... I don't want to even guess. Greek goddess of chaos, strife, and discord. So, you know, could be maybe an ominous name. This is from the Villains Wiki, though. Strife and discord. So it could be an ominous name to have a character named Eris, but considering Apollo takes the form of someone who's very fucking sick, it could also be like a good sign. Like if they represent sort of like certain opposites, then Eris being named after a god of strife and discord could be maybe like she's like nicer. And this is what Wikipedia is saying. According to Hestia, there was another Eris, separate and distinct from Eris, the daughter of Nyx, who was beneficial to men. Also, Eris being a daughter of Nyx, we just got like a monologue about chaos and stuff. I don't know what Otis means, if anything. There's a pseudonym, maybe? Nobody or no one? That's probably a reference to, I think it was Odysseus who stabbed out the eye of like a Cyclops or something. And he introduced himself to the Cyclops as nobody. So that way when that Cyclops was like screaming out, he said, I got attacked by nobody. So, but again, I want to wonder about Eris as a character. Like, what is the nobody? If we take Otis as meaning nobody or nothing, what does that represent? Is about like there's something like a gap in her personality or something? Or 25 years old, Pisces, 5'1". She's shorter than I thought she was. And single, just throwing that out there. Okay, it is kind of funny though that her motif definitely is that of a dove, and she's, which is often associated with love. Here, take my business card. There's a lot of, wait, what? Little card reads Eris Otis, adventurer, hero, a pigeon aficionado. So she also does like pigeons. It's even laminated fancy. Reading the card over once more, he's beginning to understand that this Eris person was more and more. Adventurer, the mere word made his eyes switch. So that's the truth of it. Everything was starting to come together. It all made perfect sense now. This was basically nothing more than a publicity stunt. Okay, but if you're an adventurer, why would you run around robbing people? I mean, okay, if that was your publicity, I mean, okay, I get why an adventurer might do that, but I'm saying if it's just a publicity stunt, why are you running around robbing people? Anyone can become an adventurer, but most adventurers tend to fade in obscurity. If anyone can be an adventurer, then why aren't? Never mind. That seems mean. That sounds mean to say. Why aren't you one, Apollo? There's only a handful of people on this planet that are world renowned. Most newbies are lucky enough to have a handful of people actually remember their name, much less their face. It's a cutthroat business if you want to stand out. You have to go out because otherwise you're just another cog in the machine. By the way, this is all second-hand knowledge. He totally hasn't memorized the ins and goings of adventure culture. Yeah, because why would he? Why would he care about that? It's massively annoying, but also it's way too impressive to grumble over. She pulled one hell of a publicity stunt, but it worked, didn't it? He's got to give her credit for that at least. Right. Look, Eris. It wasn't neat performance and everything. Also, character named Eris causing chaos. Look, Eris. It was neat performance and everything, but I'm sure there are other ways of getting your name out there. Performance? Whatever do you mean, my onion-headed acquaintance? Why does she talk like that? Why does she talk like that? You know, the whole scaring the villagers and breaking into their house and it's pretty gutsy, but it worked at least. You're the talk of the town. Onion-headed? What's that supposed to mean? I don't know. You cry a lot. You have layers to your character. I guess your hair looks like a slick back onion. Like if I put this like sideways. Oh, even my fans to think I've become so popular so quickly. Though I'm still not sure what you mean by stunt. What do you mean? You're doing all this to build up hype, you know? A PR stunt? Right. No, I just walk in. Wait, you're being serious right now? Well, yes. I just walk in, take what I need, and walk out. I hang around here and there, but mostly I go, Jose, please. Of course, I pop in and check up on the citizens, as is my sworn duty as a hero. People look so peaceful and cute when they sleep. You know that's illegal, right? More importantly, you know that's creepy and complete bridge of privacy. Bridge? It might also be bridge. Crossing. Bridge of privacy, right? Haha, no it isn't. Yes it is. Eris waves her hand nonchalantly in response. No, it's not. I mean, houses are for entering, aren't they? A closed door is basically an invitation. Then what's an open door? Is an open door also an invitation? Apollo's eyes are practically bulging out of his head at this point. He's pulling his leg, right? There's no way she's serious, right? This has to be a joke. It's not like she'd been living under a rock her whole life. Completely unrelated, but may I check your forehead temperature real quick? An odd request, but you may. Oh, I get it. Is this some sort of new form of greeting? It's like the end thing nowadays. Yes, I approve. Apollo peels the fingerless glove off the hand and face Spencer. What is it? A little doctor card. I know it's probably a gag, but you cannot prove he's canonically does not have just like a little fucking doctor card. Because his name is Apollo, god of medicine, so it can't prove he doesn't have his little fucking doctor card on him at all times. Your hand is quite warm. Yeah, because he's sick all the time. Temperature seems normal. Further testing is needed. Without warning, he stuck a wooden tongue depressor into her mouth. Where's he getting this? That's so mean. Say, good. Now, have you felt dizzy, nauseous, disoriented, or confused at any point in the past few days? How's your fluid intake? Okay. He reached into his backpack and retrieved his trusty stethoscope. Does he actually? I mean, besides his name being Apollo, it doesn't make sense that he might be good with certain things if he's used to being sick all the time and trying to figure out what the cause is. Okay, so this will probably feel a little cold in your back. In response, Eris spat out the wooden stick that had been in her mouth at that point. Ugh. How incredibly rude. I'll have you know I'm perfectly healthy in mind and body. Well, I suppose I could limit my daily sodium intake. She looks so sad about that. But other than that, I assure you, I'm perfectly fine. Paul took a sideways glance at her. Sorry excuse for a camp. Right. Look, I'm no tattletale, so I think it'd be better if you came with me. The villagers are pretty understanding. I'm sure they'd be willing to let this go if you apologize and give them their stuff back. At least he hoped they'd be understanding. At the end of the day, no one could stay angry at some poor vagrant living in the woods. Thief or no thief, weirdo or no weirdo. What in the name of chaos do I need to apologize for? Chaos reference. Oh. Goodness, where are my manners? I was so busy talking about myself that I didn't ask you for your name. She leaned in close, close enough for a kiss, studying his face. Apollo blushed. He somehow forgot how totally gorgeous she was. Well, is there any way I should address you? Ms. Apollo is fine. I don't mind, whichever. Being under fluid has its perks. True, I guess, yeah, you know. Personally, Apollo didn't really mind whatever pronouns people used for him, since he uses multiple pronouns. Although, he supposed he was the main. He shook his head rapidly. What was he doing telling his name to a complete stranger? Especially one that likes to look at people when they slept. Amazing what a pretty face can do to one's mind. Charisma stat? It's crazy. Ms. Apollo it is then. Here. Well, now that we got it, formalities over and done with, we should be on our way. On our way to where? The village? Why, to adventure, of course. I was like asking him to hand over his liver. Eris made a surprising face, then giggled to herself. How silly of me, I'm forgetting all sorts of things today. She stepped back and widened her stance, then she took her lance in both hands and flung it high into the air. And caught it as it came down. With one hand, she began to twirl like with the grace and scales of a majorette. The wind around them seemed to spin in rhythm, surrounding the two figures in a whirlwind of leaves and dust. Watch and be amazed, because before you stand to hear like no other, an adventurer like no other. You may ask me who I am, and I shall tell you. I erase darkness, I erase sadness, I erase suffering. Where evil dwells, I will vanquish it. Her shining lance spun vibrantly, reflecting the sun's rays, and with one simple flick of the wrist, the woman pierces the ground between them with her lance. I have ventured far and wide, as is a shooting star, all in search for someone like you. I'm the universe's spear and shield, and in this moment, the universe answers your call. So, she might literally live under a rock, because she is answering the call. What's your last name? Kitharoidos? Hold on. That feels like also like a god I should know. Well, Apollo looks like another aspect of I mean, Cathariados, Cathariados seems like another aspect of Apollo, so it's another reference to Apollo. Apollo Catharoidos. Catharoidos. You shall be my champion. I ask of you, will you join me? This feels like that. I don't know if that's a Fate reference because there's a Fate reference to Saber's like, will you be my master? No, I ask of you, are you my master? Air spoke so steadfast, she was almost shining, as bright as a star. She stopped, breathlessly, awaiting his response eagerly. Her eyes remained enchanted. No. See, I'm just saying. There's a lot of people who's like me whenever a beautiful woman asks me to do anything. How can you say no to his face? Wait, what? Oh, shit. Wait a minute. Oh, I thought that was actually the end of the demo. I'm kind of impressed you actually went the extra mile. What do you mean, no? This is a one in a lifetime opportunity. You're just going to turn it down? Why? If this gets multiple endings, there should be 2 endings. Only 2 endings. That's the true ending, and this ending where you just say no. You have one like explicit choice in the entire game to actually click a yes or no answer. It's that choice. If you click no, it just ends, and that's the bad ending. What do you mean? This is a one in a lifetime opportunity. You're just going to turn it down? Why? What do you mean why? I hardly know you, and besides, I'm no adventurer. Yeah, and I'm sure those rippling biceps are just for show. And that fat ass. I can feel it. It resonates from your very soul. A warm, bright light that yearns for the call of adventure. Well, here it is. So why turn it down? For a fleeting second, he actually believed her, but... So, obviously, I think something's going on with Eris. I don't think she's just a normal person. But we do see her acknowledge basically that what we've noticed with Apollo, that his actions and his work and his thoughts do not, like, sync up at all. Like, they're completely opposite of each other. You can't be an adventurer, Apollo. His gaze fell to the floor as he struggled to find his next words. Defeated, he stuffed his hand into his pocket and shrugged. I don't know. I guess I don't really see the point. Ah, it's a point like spear. Don't see the point. Did you not hear my speech? True. The point is becoming a super cool, super awesome adventure, obviously. What else is there? He turned away from his glare with her hand outstretched as if to address an invisible audience, her dark eyes sparkling all the while. Fame, fortune, glory, love. That's the making of a true hero. I can see it now. My name known throughout the world. The masters practically throw themselves at my feet in adoration and praise. It makes my tender maiden heart flutter. Teehee. She looked like she was on the verge of tears, but just as suddenly as her eyes began to water, did her hand turn into a firm fist. Indeed, it is the ultimate aspiration in life. Don't you think? Yeah, he had that dream once. But all he dreams now is flames and the voice that has haunted him since childhood. Jesus Christ. You can't be an adventurer, Apollo. Not really. I don't have any aspirations for the future, actually. He's gonna kill himself. Look, okay, it seems out of left field, but honestly, someone told me that, like, I don't have any aspirations whatsoever. You sound suicidal, bro. He paused as if slapped. What? No aspirations for the future? How can that be? No, I don't believe it. No one can possibly agree to such a miserable, wretched existence. There must be a mistake. And there goes his ulcer. There's no mistake here. Thank you very much. Besides, what's it? Your business? It's my business because it's my job. I am an adventurer. I am a hero. I bring happiness where there is sorrow. And then you steal everyone's shit. I grant wishes and make dreams come true and vanquish evil and darkness wherever it resides. This person is certainly a lot. Does she want to be an adventurer or a fairy godmother? Maybe he really should recommend her to a doctor after all. Right, no darkness here. Sorry to disappoint. I don't know, there's a bit of darkness going on there. No, just a poor lost soul with no dreams for the future. That comment made him see red. Paul gave her a good long stare before turning to leave. He didn't have more to say. He didn't want to say more. Harris, on the other hand, stood rooted in the spot, still coming to terms with his conviction, or lack thereof. Nope. Try as I may, I cannot make heads or tails of your conviction. Turning down a life of adventure and glory is one thing, but to condemn yourself to a life of apathy is simply mind-boggling. Mark my words, I'll get to the bottom of this. Yeah, you do that. He scoffed scornfully at her attempts to understand. That's just how life is. It didn't turn out the way you planned. Now where'd he put his bow? He could have sworn he had it not too long ago. It must have fallen off his back when he got snared upside down. The stupid thing should be lying in the grass somewhere. I got it. It's constipation, isn't it? Fiber's essential to a healthy diet, you know. That's not it, you weirdo. Seriously, where the hell is this stupid boat? He might actually just leave it behind just to rid himself of this wannabe adventurer. It's not? Well, shoot, I'm all out of guesses. That was your only guess? I mean, what are you trying to do? Die or something? You can't tell, but I'm looking at the camera right now. It was a cold, hard slap to the face, the kind that clatters teeth and splits open your lip. That was it. Yep, she hit the mark, dead center. Damn it, 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 damn it. It was an unspoken rule. So long as he never uttered the actual word, he didn't have to come to terms with it. Yeah, so this is pretty like clear in like his behavior and how he tries to like just not admit stuff to himself. As long as he never actually uttered the word suicide, he couldn't actually go through with it. Yesterday he had been a fluke, just like every other time, but it was closer than he'd ever been. But his blade was too dull, the water too cold, his hands too shaken. Even his water reflection betrayed him. It was not him. It was a mere image that shattered years ago, the one that still whispered, "You can't be an adventurer, Apollo." Ritter stood there with his back frozen. Stood there with his back turned, frozen in place, just a few paces from the adventurer. She eyed him blankly, gauging his reaction. Then, that's not good, you know. I also never noticed this symbol on her chest. Also got a sign of the moon. Interesting. Oh goodness, how awful. And Apollo merely laughed. Empty laugh with no joy, no humor. A flat reaction to the insanity of his situation. Ha 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 ha. Do you need help? Is this what it feels like to be at your wit's end? To be perfectly honest, Apollo never understood what that meant. He had always been content to give up just before he got to that point. Save himself the headache, you know? Not this time. What are you, a shrink? What the hell is it any of your business? He began to approach her, his burning glare never wavering. That wasn't rhetorical. I want an answer. Who the hell do you think you are? Who the hell are you to think you can tell me what the hell I can and can't do with my life? While you've been prancing around the woods playing adventurer, I've been in the real world having every type of shit flung at me. I want to die, yeah, so fucking what? At least it would be on my terms and no one else's. But what the hell would you know? You're just some freak who lives in the middle of the woods because she has no social skills. You say you're an adventurer? What an incredible lie. Ha, I actually feel sorry for you. And then, you'll never be an adventurer. Oh. It was only when Apollo saw his angry reflection in her dark eyes that he finally returned to his senses. He lowered his shoulders and he hadn't even realized he'd hunched over her tiny frame in this moment. It looked so small then. She had been quite short, but now she was downright puny. Her graceful fingers unsteadily held onto her lance like a shield, and her eyes. He turned away from her, afraid of his reflection, afraid of the refrain, afraid of her tearful expression. Explosion? Expression? Oops. Her tearful expression. That was too far. That was not my... That was too far. I went too far. Something caught his eye up ahead. It was the golden glow of a stupid bow, nestled in the tall grass. So interesting that the bows covered gold. Sorry to interrupt this very tense moment, but the bow is colored gold once again, which, you know, the sun is often associated with gold and Apollo. I'm not sure if Apollo, like, contemporarily, like, within Greek mythology was associated with gold, but definitely modern days just because of the relationship to the sun and the idea of, like, gold/yellow. Not daring to look back, he merely lowered his gaze and moved towards it. Only once he bent down to retrieve his bow. Did she speak as soft as a whisper? Is that really how you feel? At first, only the wind blowing through the treetops responded. Now he answered, "Yeah, it is." His fingers had only just touched the curve of his bow when she spoke again. "I'll fulfill my duty as an adventurer and grant you your request." I'm sure that's fine. He wasn't quite sure what moved his legs. Intuition, maybe? But he had only a split second to dodge the point of her spear. Cough, cough. The air had filled with dust and debris, making it hard to see and even harder to breathe. That was the last thing he had to worry about, however. Eris blew Lance from the small crater she had created in the ground. Lance? Sorry, like Lancer? Sorry. It made a sharp, echoing sound that sent shivers down Apollo's spine. If he had been even half a second slower, she surely would have pierced right through his body. Apollo stared at her, wide-eyed and astonished. What the hell are you? She didn't even give him time to finish. In a flash, the woman bolted over with lance in hand. She swung it in a horizontal arc, slashing through the very air. Apollo had just enough sense to duck away and roll from her slash. Jumping or dodging was futile. The length of her spear was enough to slice him in half. He landed among the leaves a few feet away, breathless. What's wrong with you? Are you trying to kill me? Well, yes, I am. Interesting background effect. That made his blood turn cold. Not her words, though. That certainly didn't help. No, it was the look in her eyes, the utter normalcy of her expression. Not different from a person shopping or cutting vegetables. No hint of hatred, vengeance, or bloodthirst. Simply a sense of duty. Eris swung her lance back into a piercing position. Heave-ho! She rushed forward, again, swinging her lance all the while. Apollo barely attempted to jump out of the way. He soon found himself rolling down an embankment. He landed with a thud. So I'm wondering if the reason she's telling him is it could be to prove a point, but it could also be because he literally just asked. He said he wanted to die. So from her perspective, he basically asked her, and she's a adventurous. That's what she does. In her mind, anyway. I'm not sure adventurers are supposed to kill people. The upper part of his left arm stung. He thought he might have been bruised. He thought he might have bruised it on the way down. But when he took his hand to it, he found it wet with red. A clean slice that went right through his sleeve and into his skin. His hands began to shake. She's trying to kill me. She's seriously trying to kill me. The sound of shuffling feet broke his thoughts. His eyes darted to the figure at the top of the embankment before him. Beautiful and lovely with dove's eyes. That's a nice spear, though. And Snake's wits. Wordlessly, she readied her spear again. Wait. Whoa, wait. Why are you trying to kill me? The woman was taken aback. She tilted her head and blinked curiously. I'm trying to kill you because it's my job. So obviously something's going up with Eris. She could be human. She probably is some sort of human, but like clearly not just like a normal person. Like either where she comes from or what she is just like different than like, you know, the average person. Also interesting that for some reason this might be like the sailor uniform like back, but I think Snappy's confirmed this part is meant to resemble like a dovetail. So I guess I don't know if it's on purpose or by accident, but it's interesting that the idea that like it might like flare out almost like when she's in flight or in the air or moving. It's kind of like an interesting either coincidence or design choice. What? That doesn't make any sense. It makes perfect sense. You wish to die, and I will be the one to give you that mercy. See, there. So, like... Do I say because it's a wish? I'm an adventurer. I am a hero. I bring happiness where there is sorrow. I get wishes and make dreams come true, and vanquish evil and darkness wherever it resides. Follow Cathoroides. Today, I will give you an honorable death. I mean, I guess relatively speaking, it would be pretty honorable. Seems like a good fighter. Well, that's enough chit-chat for now. Just stand still, and it will be over soon, okay? Well, wait. She lifted the lance and pointed it at him. Then she called out, "Air!" and blasted a massive gust of wind from the tip of her lance. Does air mean anything? I mean, it sounds like air, but... Air, yeah. Somehow Paul managed to run from the blast before it struck. Dust and debris flew all around him. Shit. It's just like earlier. He's the prey running for his dear life through an expensive trees and foliage. But this time there's no escape. Only death awaits him. Apollo kept running. He didn't know where he was running, but that didn't stop him. He dove behind the safety of a large tree. He lifted his head and covered his mouth with his bloodied hand. The taste was bitter on his lips. She's near. He was here some minute ago. Where'd he go? He could hear the innocent confusion from the sound of her voice. A bead of sweat cascaded down his face. This won't do at all. How am I supposed to fulfill my duty in this situation? She sounded pouty and glum. It'd be adorable if she wasn't, trying to skew him like a human kebab. He gulped silently and hoped she couldn't hear his breathing. A thin stream of blood from his mouth. Stupid lungs. If she didn't kill him, his useless lungs certainly will. Lungs, probably from a sickness. They're probably like, not in peak condition. He could hear the woman shuffling about, looking for him. Polly, come out, wherever you are. This is bad. He's just a sitting duck now. Any moment now, she'd find him descend upon him like a hawk. He could use his door on. No, that would just leave his body at commission, and he'd really have no way out. She's getting closer. His legs began to wobble, but he dared not make even the slightest noise or movement. Apollo could hear the rise and fall of Eris's breath. That's how close she was. Time seemed to freeze. She made another pouting noise, and then miraculously her footsteps increasing. Okay, I'm not trying to boss baby this. I swear to God, I know this isn't just like a bunch of fade references. This is a very good story in its own right. But I have to wonder if the idea of like having someone with a sphere trying to kill somebody, and like within the demo, like the first episode, is like another reference, potential nod to Fate, like a Fate parallel. He opened the eyes that he had sealed shut and felt his shoulders go slack. It was like a massive weight had been lifted from his body. The hunter opened his mouth, but no words came out. He grinned silently. Found you. Apollo could only turn his head in horror at the woman who had suddenly appeared at his side. Her smile was wide and unfaltering. She looked at her spear. Air. Also, interesting. The ability we've seen her use is called air, and it's two blasts of wind. So there's obviously interesting association there with like her having a dub motif and like flight. Apollo landed some ways away, right on his ass. Thank God it's fat. Truthfully, he didn't know how he got out of that one. The stab from her spear should have finished him, but the blast ended up blowing him away several feet. It hurt like hell, but he found it in himself to get it back up again. Got it, to get away. Despite the pain in his backside and burning in his legs, the hunter pressed onward. Apollo's mind began to fog. It was a struggle to think. It wasn't until he tripped over something hard that he was able to formulate a cohesive thought. A white pot. His eyes squinted at the sight. Somehow he managed to circle all the way back to Eris's sad little camp. Small world. To his right, you could see the gleam of his bow. It sat there waiting. He blinked lazily as he lay on the floor. All the fight gone from his body. That's it. He's done for. He could hardly feel his legs, and his lungs had reached their limit. He could hear Eris approaching some ways away. She was close, and yet she seemed 100 miles away. He gazed up at the sky above him. Blue skies, with just a tiny hint of pink on the horizon. Evening was coming, but he couldn't be there to see it. Why did that fact make him so sad? Apollo tried to think when his first attempt was. Was it back in his teenage years or sometime after? Never had the guts for it. Be it by cliff, rope or water, he'd always chickened out. He hoped and hoped for death, but couldn't even go through with it. Because he's a coward, because he's afraid, because he's worthless, because... Why did he want to die so badly again? He knew the answer, and yet it failed to bring him any comfort. He saw it every time he closed his eyes. The look in his parents' eyes, the sight of never-ending flames, the shame of living. Survivor's guilt, maybe? The child that looked just like him, saying, "You'll never be an adventurer, Apollo." He wanted to die, yeah. He wanted to stop living. He wanted to stop being a disappointment. He wanted to stop hearing the same voice in his head over and over again. He just wanted to stop hurting, that's all. I just wanted Artemis to pet my head one last time. So Artemis, obviously a reference to the Greek god Artemis, god of the hunt and the moon. The revelation hit him like a ton of bricks. She was closer now. Death was closer now. But he only laid there, wide-eyed at this realization. I don't want to die. He blinked, surprised at the tears forming in the corner of his eyes. Yeah, that's right. He doesn't want to die. He just wants to stop hurting. He wanted to be happy. That's all. I don't want to die. Eris' shadow fell on him. He could only weakly move his head towards her. Wordlessly, she pointed her lance at the middle of his chest. I don't want to die. That's right. I don't want to die. Eris lifted her arms above her head, lance ready in place. I want to live. She swung down her final blow. I want to... Dust fills the air again. And when it clears, Eris finds her spear lodged within the earth. She clicked her tongue in annoyance and turned her head to the right. Apollo had rolled away at the last second. By all accounts, he should be dead. He even looked the part of a corpse. He sweated as if he had just walked out of a sauna. His brown skin had taken a sickly yellow pallor, and his expression showed he was merely seconds away from collapse. But in that moment, he never felt more alive. Eris glared with utter disdain. You're a rude one, aren't you? Here I am, trying to uphold my duty as a hero by giving you a proper death, and you won't even do me this courtesy of standing still. Why make things more difficult for yourself? Apollo didn't answer. He only returned her gaze with equal fervor. The two predators merely stared each other down, stared each other down, not daring to move. His ruby eyes against her black eyes. For that short moment, time stopped completely. Then his arm flashed down for the bow hidden in the grass. Eris spun her lance and rushed forward. Oh shit, it's the bow. How impudent. Amazingly, he stood his ground. Faster than she could comprehend, he took out an arrow, aimed and fired. The arrow headed straight for her head. There was no hope to deflect it with her spear. She needed to either duck or dodge. She chose duck and let her legs split from under her. And when she moved back into position, he found his boot. His boot buried in her stomach. Gah! That sent her flying backwards a couple feet. One hand clutched her lance, the other her stomach. She grimaced in pain. Okay, besides being a cool scene, that actually does also validate what Arya and the old man were saying about him. That you can see why you think he might be a hunter. Or not a hunter, but an adventurer. Apollo would not grant her even a second of respite. He aimed and he fired. Eris rolled out of the way, a trail of arrows falling closely behind. One shot scratched the upper part of her arm. An eye for an eye. She yelped and ran for cover down the embankment. You're not getting away from me. He followed suit with the bow and arrow ready. He found her waiting at the bottom of the embankment. The scratch on her arm did not bleed. He knew it stung. But he knew it stung. She spun her weapon around and charged. It's no use. He let the arrow fly, and Eris had no choice but to move out of the way. A close melee fighter with zero body armor, she had no chance against a skilled archer. But she did not give up. He had to appreciate her determination. Apollo cursed himself and jumped to his right. He barely moved out of the blast's way, and not without loss. Most of his arrows flew from out of his pouch, and he was helpless to stop it. Shit. That current of wind she used, it must be her Doron. She can control wind, is it? Is that it? Impressive. Wind can be destructive when it wanted to be, and the blast from her lance was no exception. He wanted to stop and collect his fallen arrows, but Eris was in hot pursuit. He bent in his precious arrows and bolted away just as Eris pierced the ground with the point of her spear. Apollo turned and ran. For once, it wasn't for his life. Apollo was down to his last few arrows, and he needed to come up with a plan and fast. He made his way back to clearing in the forest. His chest heaving, he steeled himself. Eris jumped into view. She was breathless and sweating, the lance heavy in her hands. She may not have shitty lungs like Apollo, but she was still human. No one can withstand a fight this long without tiring. Why don't you just lay down and die? This time Apollo answered, I have better things to do today than die. No one moved. The two warriors immediately waited to see who could make their first and possibly last move. The person was Apollo, but much to Eris' surprise, he didn't fire an arrow. Instead, he threw something into the air. Some kind of blue ball. No, a bag. Distraction, huh? That won't work on me. She bolted forward, bringing forth her lance down in a downward arc to slice the stupid bag in half. But strangely, Apollo didn't take the opportunity to fire an arrow. He simply spun around and took shelter behind a nearby tree. Her realization came too late. A bag of winds exploded and unleashed a storm of wind and air. Apollo was right to take shelter behind the tree. He could feel the strength of the blast even from his position. The trees cracked and swayed, and for a moment Apollo appeared to come crashing down on him. Ouch. But at last, the terrible wind dissipated and the dust cleared. What the hell did that old man keep in that bag? Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. Never mind that. That could wait. He jumped from his shelter without fear because he knew the battle was won. Apollo found her sprawled out on the floor several feet away. Even though she had taken the full force of the hurricane, she was still conscious. She stirred weakly, she dimly eyed the lance that sat in the dirt a few feet away. She reached for it and drew back her hand just as quick. It was a warning shot, but the arrow had been mere centimeters from her, piercing her palm. She turned to Apollo, whose arrows were poised and readied. Get away from the spear. Now. She glared at him, but did as he bid. She slowly rose and stepped away from her weapon. I thought you wanted to die. Was she still on that? Change of plans, you loony. Congratulations. Yeah, baby, we beat his depression. He just needed to touch grass. Huh? Harrison from injured to maniac in 10 seconds flat. Injured to maniac in 10 seconds flat. She jumped about and twirled, giggling to herself as if a life or death battle never took place. Needless to say, Apollo was stunned. Huh? Congratulations, we should buy a cake to celebrate. It'll be on me. Apollo struggled to even comprehend the scene unfolding before him. Congratulations, celebrate cake? She might as well start speaking exclusively in Egyptian hieroglyphics. Oh, I see. That battle was just a ruse, wasn't it? You were just trying to make me realize I wanted to live after all. Right? Hmm? Yeah, sure, let's go with that. Oh no. Anyway, I'm in the mood for apple cake. Have you ever had apple cake? It's soft and moist and melts in your mouth. This will be the best. The apple cake sounds like it would actually be pretty good. Actually, he'd have an easier time trying to decipher Egyptian hieroglyphs. His legs gave out from under him, and he landed on his touches. The bow and arrow fell from his numb hands. It pained him to think how sore he'd be tomorrow. It took some time to catch some much-needed breath before he spoke again. You're completely insane. Eris's face reddened as she turned away from him in embarrassment. Aw, stop, you'll make me blush. He rolled his eyes. Of course, that's her response. Of course. Apollo didn't know what was worse, the fact that she's a total screwball, or the fact that he found it kind of endearing. Eris, meanwhile, took together her belongings. First her lance, and then she reached down for something in the nearby bush, buried in the dirt. It was round, flat, and shining. Is that a... You were hiding a shield the whole time? What, in this economy? True. She brushed the dirt off her shield. Apollo could only watch, mouth agape. The momentum somehow continued to bewilder him. Seriously, she was hiding a shield the whole time? Had she armed herself with the shield, their battle would have ended much quicker. All she would need to do was block his blows and do away with him. This is unbelievable. She can't possibly be this dumb enough to discard her shield before a battle. Can she? What possible reason could she have for hiding her shield? Unless... Eris's eyes popped open as she remembered something. Ah, yes, I almost forgot. I love these expressions. Now about my offer. Apollo groaned into his hands. You're still on that? Give me a break. How can you say no to this face, though? Absolutely not. That battle was just now. The battle just now is more than enough proof that you have what it takes to be an adventurer. I kind of agree with her on that. More than that, it shows you have what it takes to be my faithful companion and retainer. Then again, what's it gonna take to convince her? What's it gonna take to convince her? Yeah, he fought back, only because she was trying to skewer him like barbecue meat. Still, it was a pretty good fight, though. No, it was an epic fight. The adrenaline rush had not even completely left his body. His legs weren't so sore and bruised. If his legs weren't so sore and bruised, he'd go around a marathon. It felt good. It felt great, even in a masochistic way. It was just like a story he heard when he heard as a child. On this day, the slick dreams he had as a kid about adventurers came true. So it makes me wonder if Eris has like either a power or some sort of connection to, like, you know, Apollo's like purer emotions and desires. So what am I going to be a glorified bodyguard for you? Of course not. You'll also clean and cook for me and carry my stuff. The headaches, the migraines, he could feel it coming. Oh, agony. Apollo studied her carefully. She's still utterly gorgeous, but totally screwy. Not to mention, she's still just a half-baked adventurer. And yet, what makes you think you'll say yes? I'll say yes. Well, do you have anything better to do? Well, you got me there. With another reproach, he sighed and rose to his feet. It's gonna be a long walk back to the village. A long walk back to the village. But he had just one final question for Eris. What do you want me for anyway? I'm just a lazy bum. Eris held her hand to her mouth and laughed coyly. You're quite inquisitive, Ms. Apollo. For starters, you're the perfect complement to my melee style of fighting. Furthermore, as much as you claim to be a no-good bum, you got quite a diverse skill set. I mean, he was pulling out doctor shit. Yeah, he's, you know. Plus, you're totally my type. Fat ass. Her face turned to a bright shade of red that illuminated even her dark skin. She turned away bashfully, twiddling her thumbs. Cute. Eris took a moment to regain her composure. Ahem, besides. Anyone who shows kindness to a pigeon is good in my book. I can definitely tell. Pigeons are probably gonna be a recurring theme. Her words were soft and gentle and utterly confusing. Huh? Yep, she's still speaking in Egyptian hieroglyphics. Can we get a translation on this? Can we have like a version of this game that's entirely in Egyptian hieroglyphics? Well, all ends well. Maybe, kind of, whatever. Eris stretched her arms and let out a yawn. Well, shall we set off? Adventure awaits us. Paul raised his hands tentatively. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold your horses there, partner. We've got one last thing we have to do. Return all your shit. Yeah. They returned by nightfall. Long song of crickets heralded their return. Apollo was surprised to find so many people awaiting his return. Flabbergasted, really. He always thought most of the village didn't even realize he existed, but there they were, waiting with bated breath and curious eyes. The baker, the innkeeper, herders and farmers, babes wrapped in the arms of their mothers, the old and young assembled alike, even old Mark Hurt, who did not look even the tiniest bit concerned. I guess it would be weird if you got sent into the forest and didn't come back until like nighttime. At the forefront of the worried crowd stood Karya, and a rush of relief filled her face, and she sprinted forward. Apollo, what happened? She instantly took note of the pretty young thing, accompanying the hunter. It was old man Herc who spoke next. Yeah, took you long enough. So, who's that fox? Actually, it's a pigeon, but she's a pigeon. Old man Herrick wiggled his eyebrows and winked at Harris's lance. Oh, he's talking about the lance. I mean, it is a nice looking lance. Someone really needs to get this man some glasses. Apollo instinctively held up his hands. He wasn't used to so many eyes watching him all at once. Alright, look, let me explain. And explain he did. Not everything, of course. He figured the villagers didn't need to know about Eris's bizarre reason for being in the village, nor did they need to know that she watched them as they lay sleeping. Seriously, who'd want to hear that? He certainly wouldn't. Apollo also admitted the intense life-or-death battle that happened right under their noses. No one needed to know that either, save for him and Eris. These scrapes and bruises? Oh yeah, he just tumbled down a ravine by accident, no biggie. Plus, he's still reeling over the humiliation of almost getting done in by a 5'1" pipsqueak squeaking platform sandals. So instead, he spun the very mix of the tale. Eris was no more than an up-and-coming adventurer taking shelter in the nearby woods. Much too shy to speak to the villagers, she opted to stealing away bits of supplies and clothing to stay alive. It had been heroic and anticlimactic, but yeah. But what are you gonna do? Much to his relief, the villagers seemed to take the news in stride. Everyone just seemed happy the whole ordeal was over with, and took peace in knowing they were never in any danger. As the crowd dispersed for their first good night's sleep in a long time, Karya stayed behind to get a few more words in with Apollo and Eris. Well, that's that, I suppose. Yeah, I guess things got a little out of hand, but she's super sorry. Aren't you, Eris? Not really, no. So, yeah. You know what? God forbid a woman have hobbies. Just a girl with hobbies in this economy. I suppose this means business will run smoothly again. I mean, with the merchants and stuff. That was one thing that still bothered him. Small villagers have small economies, so they rely on outside merchants and traders. Hopefully this whole fiasco didn't really screw over the town. Maria beamed proudly. Oh, I don't think we need to worry about that at all. Old man Herc pulled the rope. The old man nodded and grasped his wrinkly hands around the length of rope that Apollo hadn't noticed. Then he pulled. A large banner appeared before them. Witness the accursed woods of Theopatra, if you dare. Of Theopetra, if you dare. Under mission for children under 10 and others over 65 and a half 5. I wonder if Theopetra means anything. I mean, I know Petra means like stone, and actually there's an actual settlement. So I guess that's where they actually are. They are in Theopetra. Interesting. Ta-da! We've got letters coming in from all over. It seems everyone's interested in the spooky tales from our neck of the woods. The cast of phantasma hunters even want to conduct their own investigation here. That's kind of fucked up when you know who did it. And look, I even had time to make a couple of shirts. Merch drop? Yeah, shirts. I've already spoken to the rest of the village. If everyone pitches in, we'll have a ton of merchandise in no time. Isn't that great? Maybe that Paul guy was right. Money really is the root of all evil. Oh, is that what she was thinking about when he said Fix the economy. So she was. Eris, on the other hand, seemed ecstatic. That sounded fantastic. Do I get a cut of the profits? Why would the no? What? I mean, I feel like you'd only get a cut if you kept running around the woods like an employee. I mean, you did create a months-long campaign of terror and fear, like some which none of us have seen before. That said, I cannot, in good conscience, bring myself to bear any ill will towards you. You poor little thing, all alone out here, and for so long. You must have been so scared and helpless. The woods are no place for a young woman, an adventurer or not. Paul took a quick glance at Eris's lance. Yeah, totally helpless. Eris beamed with pride. She lifted her head and opened her mouth, no doubt ready to spill the beans of everything that's transpired. Oh ho 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 ho! Actually, Apollo cut her off there with a slight nudge of her arm, giving only a quick wink in response. That seemed to really confuse her, but Apollo hoped she could appreciate it later. Like Eris, he wasn't very good at talking to other people either. Well then, how about we pop on over to my house? I made apple cake. Oh shit, apple cake is real. Apple cake? Have you ever had apple cake, Misty? It's soft and moist and melts in your mouth. Dark's been spitting it like almost this entire arc. It does indeed, and finally someone who understands. Ugh. Eris and Karya walked ahead with the old man Herc in tow. Apollo watched them silently. Huh, that's odd. I don't know why I'm saving, but all ends well that ends well, so why does he feel so sad? He shook his head. Doesn't matter. Eris would have a nice dinner and a cozy night's stay for once. All that's left for him is for him to find that familiar room back at the end. Yep. Don't you got anything better to do than just stand there monologuing? Back. What is it with people randomly materializing when you least expect it? I was about to leave, okay? Give me a break, old man. He got a few steps with the old man snapped the back of his handkerchief with the hook of his cane. And where do you think you're going, youngster? There's cake and tea waiting for us back at Karya's. What you waiting for? Lead the way. By the way, what you think of me bag of winds? Coming in handy. Yeah, okay, so the old man probably knows thing happened because he probably noticed that he doesn't have his bag of wind anymore. This old man. You know, I'm beginning to think you're not as senile as you make yourself out to be. Old man Herc bonked him on the head for that. Kind of deserved. Don't quit your yapping and hurry up. I'm hungry here. I'm an old man and I need help getting from place to place. By the way, when we get there, you only put me dentures in. Can't eat without me dentures. Good grief. And so they set off to a nice dinner of cake and tea and dentures. You can't forget the dentures. The morning air blew gently. Only a few clouds hung in the blue sky above. Yup. The adventurer managed to pull on her backpack in one swift movement. Karya filled both her bags with enough provisions the last few weeks. It had been a while since Apollo carried something so heavy. He had gotten used to it in due time. Be careful, the both of you. Make sure you send a letter from time to time. Yeah. And get me some souvenirs while you're at it. The expensive kind. I don't know why I keep changing his voice. The two villagers saw them off to the road. A couple of the other villagers waved goodbye from the village square. Farewell, these citizens. I, Eris Otis, will never forget your kindness. Yeah, what she said. They walked in relative silence for a while. Then Apollo spoke. So what's the plan exactly? He'd be lying if he said he wasn't at least a little bit worried. Sure, traveling the world sounded fun a few nights ago, but now... He wondered if Eris would be mad if he decided to turn back. After all, is he really cut out for this type of life? Eris waved her hand dismissively. Plans are for lesser, unsophisticated... Okay. Then she skipped forward, swelling about like a maiden in a field of flowers. I mean, we are adventurers. We are above the common rabble. We need no plan or map to tell us what to do. We go wherever the wind takes us. We are going to see the world, my dear companion. That's all that matters now. Something wrong? She paused when she realized her retainer had stopped in his tracks. Her eyes blinked at him curiously. Nah, everything's fine. Let's go. With that, Eris grinned. Excellent. Onward then. To adventure. snap. Oh, okay. Background's nice. I don't want to forget about the whole other Bloody Tears by Princess Moret. Oh. And then with that, we can. Obviously, I think we're gonna. Was there always a rainbow? Maybe you just couldn't think of the text box in the way, but interesting rainbow effect. I mean, it's not really much for me to talk about in this art, just because like it's great art. It's just that like storytelling is very simplistic. Like here, you're obviously looking up at Eris, which just shows that Apollo, our perspective character, was looking at from like below. Like he just fell down off a tree. You could argue that maybe it also gives her a sense of power in this frame, like in this scene. Like she basically outplayed Apollo. So did I? Oh, there's different expressions. Like she basically outplayed Apollo, so she's basically looking down at him. And she does also literally look down at him by saying that she didn't expect him to get caught. I mean, here also a pretty simple piece. You have speed lines, like emphasis, like she's moving so fast, like everything around her looks like a blur. If you're like locked onto her, and then obviously spear about to stab you. Weirdly happy or okay with it. Most expressions are like weirdly mundane, which is kind of like, except for this one, which is just ominous and like almost like she's like being controlled by something or like activating on operating an instinct or something. And these are just like kind of like relatively with except for this one where she looks like she's more of an expression you'd expect from someone about to stab you. A lot of white, black, gold, like mostly gold and white. Obviously, like pigeon with the white. Pigeons are often white, and there's essentially like gold with like angels and stuff, and she's compared to an angel, which might be like a bit more literal, like pigeons and doves and angels. And then some black like highlights. There's not really anything I can say in the spear because it's just a really like the spear tip looks cool, but it's just like a really, really solidly designed spear. And then bow. Interesting that the bow's gold. Like Eris and both Eris and Apollo seem to have like a decent amount of gold. Eris obviously has way more of it, but you could see as like a sort of like an idea, like kind of like link them together, like design wise, is like they both have gold in their design. At least when Apollo has his bow, yeah, this thing has way more gold. Aaron's in gold. Once again, I'm not sure this is supposed to like really mimic speed so much as like intensity. I mean, I guess he might be moving ways making these shots. It wouldn't surprise me, but like intensity being shown by like the lines and movement. I think that's all. I guess I'll stop recording. Well, hold on. Before I stop recording, ignore that. Here we have the profiles. In Eris's mind, life is one big fairy tale, and she's the main star. She claims to be the ideal storybook hero, but she's more akin to a small-town girl with big city dreams. Needless to say, she's always on the hunt for her next big adventure. Eris wants nothing more than to be revered and loved all the world over. Whether this is out of pure altruism or egoism remains to be seen. That said, while she loves humanity as a whole, Eris struggles to understand other people individually. This tends to drive a wedge in her goals, but she's not giving up. She enjoys chaos and mayhem, a little too much for her own good. So chaos and mayhem, like I said, Eris is a god of chaos and like discord. So she does seem like she has a mischievous side of personality. Also, interesting that she seems to struggle to understand people individually. This leads me like to like suspect that Eris is more than just like a normal person. Because like what kind of person like better understands the higher concept of like humanity than, well, I mean, she could just be awkward. Apollo Ketheroidos, an unmotivated drifter, he chooses to follow Eris on a whim and has no real plans for the future. This often puts him at odds with his liege lord Eris. Despite his lack of conviction, he has considerable skill in several fields, including medicine, music, and archery. All references to Apollo. He's got associated with all those things: medicine, music, and archery. It's self-described. Also, maybe a good chance. Maybe he is a good choice for a. I mean, I guess if you had to pick a retainer, might be a good choice. I mean, can fix you up, can play like a fucking like little tune while you're like traveling. Like you're like, you know, like how sometimes like nights have like those little like squires like play music, so people know you're coming of your greatness. Archery, so good at combat too. A self-described coward, Apollo perverse, staying out of harm's way, even if it means throwing away his dignity, which is kind of ironic that he uses a bow too, because you could. I'm not saying a bow is a coward's weapon. It's just like it was kind of like a joke with like a bow is a weapon you use to keep your distance, while Eris has like a more close range weapon, like she goes in with a spear. He's also generally the voice of reason, less out of a desire to do what's right and more out of to do with his pragmatic, pessimistic nature. He seems to carry an odd bitterness towards adventures adventurers. Additionally, he has a weak constitution. Okay. We'll stop the recording there. I'll still stream. I don't know how much of the game. I'm probably gonna play a little bit of Doors Empty Path. I don't know if I will get very far because I can find the. I don't know if I'll get very far because it's actually pretty late, a lot later than I thought it'd be by the time we finish this. So I might just like play like, I don't know, like a little bit and then like 20 minutes or something and then go to bed. I'll remind the place I saw the reference in Deltarune. I want to go back. Ooh, okay, escape. I kind of just come up here with remote controller, but sometimes I have my mic and remote controller and an X finicky, so I just don't bother sometimes. My head. It hurts. All these voices and all these faces are floating into my head. Who are they? Ah. It feels like my head's gonna burst open. Someone, make it stop. I'm sure that's fine. Oh shit. Crazy sprite work. It's definitely remember like those really old like the original Game Boy kind of thing where it's kind of like a green tent. Another nightmare. I've been getting a lot of these lately. I have a feeling he's behind this one again. I don't think I can fall back asleep after that. Well, no use laying around bed. We see you're fit, bro. Guess I'll go for a walk to clear my mind for a bit. Oh, what? Oh, so actually, I'm not sure. Is this supposed to how it's supposed to work? I'm supposed to use my mouse. Oh, I forgot about these apples I left here. They seem good. I'll eat one later though. Maybe writing a journal might help take my mind off it. That's a very interesting take on the. That's a very interesting take on like the standard like top-down perspective. The sun's out. It's too bright right now to use my lamp. No balls. The sun's out. Super bright. I wonder how they like coded this. So like what's the tracking look like? Whoops. A spare wardrobe. It has some of my old clothes and Claire's outfits mixed in there. A spare broomstick. I think Claire's the witch character. I vaguely remember seeing these characters from like Temmie's like one of their animations. Always good to wash your hands before you prepare food. Fruit? Kinda spitting. Whoops. Go back inside. I gotta see all the lore. Oh hey shit, are you Claire? Yo, good morning, Yoki. Aren't you awake kind of early? Good morning, Claire. It is pretty early, huh? Haven't been sleeping all that well lately. Yeah, you don't look so great these days. Was it another nightmare? Yeah. I've been getting them a lot more recently. I can't remember the last time I got a good full night's rest. This one was probably especially draining. I feel beyond exhausted. You know, I'm thinking it was probably his doing again. You know. Zara? Yeah. I saw him outside next to the house after all. He's still there? So you saw him earlier too then, huh? These nightmares feel very much more aggressive lately. Wonder if he's mad at me. Man, what's with that guy? Why is he so fixated on you? You think he's got a crush? I don't think it's that. Well, whatever it is. Seriously, be careful around him. If I could get rid of him myself, I totally would. I have so many so many spell barriers around the house. And he just comes in and breaks them, like it was nothing. Don't worry about me. If it comes down to it, if he ever tried anything, I can take care of myself. I'm not scared of him. Oh, you're so cool. After all, it's not like he's ever tricked you or roped you into his schemes before. Let her aura farm, bro. So these are ingredients ready to use for spells. These are ingredients ready to use for spells. There's latest work. What a strong smell. Wanna try it? No thank you. No balls. Organic ingredients for spells and formulas. Hey, if you're heading out again, do you think you could pick up my order from the doctor's place at the castle town? Sure thing if I end up heading that way. Thank you a bunch. Lots of spell books and such. Some of these are in languages I've never seen before. Bear's really smart. Looks like there's a lot of ingredients for formulas and rituals. Hey, that's my journal. I don't go looking through yourself without your permission. I'm pretty sure you do. Well, maybe. But don't look through mine. My stuff is cursed. You'll be haunted. By who? By me, of course. You're right. I wouldn't want that. A lot of old torn up notes and formulas, it seems. As well as some failed experiments and empty vials. Wanted. Okay. I like that picture of me, so I decided to keep that one. It is a good picture, though. No, not yet. Aw, boo. No mail today. Of course you're here. You don't look so happy to see me. I'm never happy to see you. Oh, so mean. So what is it? Why are you here? I'm just dropping by to visit my favorite forest resident. And what else? That's all. I don't buy that for a second. You planted that nightmare I had last night in my head, right? Don't give the silent treatment. You want me to be useful to your plans and such, right? Would I really would I really be of any use to you when I'm this fatigued? What's the point in doing this? It's my way of showing I care for you. Maybe we should care a little less. Don't jinx it. No mail today. The vegetables me and Claire have been growing. Well, I'm trying to do like the thing everyone does in like games where like you're trying to figure out where the story isn't, so you can like get all the side stuff. Oops. Or well, I don't need any water right now. Sure. Are you feeling lost, confused? I'm here to help. Would you like a hint? No, I don't need your... That's a butterfly that was expecting in the grass. Nothing you delivered today. Oh, hey. Look at her big ass fucking hair. Oh, Yoki. Came to visit me. What a surprise. Hello. Hey, model. Hello. I see you're in the middle of repairs right now. Yeah, I've been at it all day. Did you damage your arm? What happened? I got into a fight with a beast type earlier. I'm not really sure what I did to upset her. I don't think I did anything unusual. I was just minding my own business. They say I knew she charged right at me and tore through my arm. My mechanical arm got damaged a bit, but there's nothing the best mechanic in the whole world kingdom can't fix. The shame Claire's potions don't work on you. Otherwise, I'd go and grab one for you. Ugh. Even if they did work on me, there's no way I'd take it. Knowing her, she'd throw on poison just to spite me. I don't think she'd go that far. Well, maybe she would. I bet she would. I bet it was her that educated the beast type to attack me. Next time I see her, I'll give her a piece of my mind. I really don't think she upset the beast type. If anyone educated the beast type, don't you think it would be Zera? Oh. I guess so. I guess I've been seeing him around more lately, huh? Maybe she'd give him a piece of your mind instead. No way. Zera's really scary. Tell me about it. What happened to all the energy from earlier? What it was. As hard as a rock. Also, there's a charging cable attached to it. Okay, that's cables for her arm. Whoa, no. I guess cables for her armor, I assume. No, don't go up. I guess there's I can't reach that side. Lamp is on. I guess even though it's sunny out, there's no window down here. It's a real one. The box of looks like spare parts. Guess her mechanical arm needs a lot of maintenance. Are these vegetables from my garden? Do you think Zera would have achieved that beast type? If it was anyone, it'd be him, right? Maybe. Why would he do that? He only ever focuses on you. I guess you're right. So if it wasn't Zera, it was definitely Claire. You're just looking for a reason to blame Claire, huh? I wonder if it really was Zera. Beast type have been unusually active lately. Seems to be manual various machinery. Did she write this for herself? I go save now. I might just stop for now and go save, because I'm finished playing this tomorrow or something. Well, tomorrow I'm not sure if I want to do like maybe another Magic the Gathering reading or something, or also I did not make this full screen. I'm supposed it's been in windowed mode the whole time. I'm a fucking monster. So we'll save now. We'll come back to this later. Okay, I'll stop for now. Oh, I can move with the arrow keys. I've been moving with the mouse keys. That does make a bit more sense. So, I'll just stop now. And I will see you guys later.